border, and he's going to close the border to all illegal aliens.
Fox's Brooke Singman. Another Trump order intends to extend the deadline to work out a deal with TikTok. The social media app went dark for a while yesterday when a ban went into effect under a law directing TikTok to cut ties to its Chinese parent company. The first 3 Israeli hostages Hamas set free at the start of a ceasefire in Gaza have been reunited with families. Adi Alexander hopes his son Idan, who's a U.S. citizen, will also be released at some point, telling Fox,
"We are confident. President Trump stated publicly and privately he doesn't want this war to continue."
America's listening to Fox News.
3 below zero in Chicago at 5:02 on AM 560, The Answer. And good morning on this Inauguration Day and Martin Luther King holiday. I'm Mike Scott. Bitterly cold weather is hitting the area on ML King Jr. Day. National Weather Service says wind chills could drop as low as 25 below zero with the wind. Dr. William Weber is with Rush University Medical Center.
The biggest thing you can do is just try to get indoors. So get to a normal temperature where your body can warm up. If you don't have shelter, you can always call 311. Chicago has warming centers.
Warming centers are open throughout the city of Chicago and in many suburbs. Number of Illinois Democrats are skipping President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration today. Sun-Times reports Representatives Robin Kelly, Delia Ramirez, Chuy Garcia, Mike Quigley, Sean Casten, Danny Davis, Raja Krishnamurthy, Jan Schakowsky, and Eric Sorensen will not be attending. Representatives Brad Schneider, Bill Foster, Lauren Underwood, and Nikki Budzinski will be attending, along with U.S. Senator Dick Durbin. Illinois Republicans are hoping for positive change after Donald Trump's inauguration as president today. Jim Talamonte has more from our newsroom.
The returning president is scheduled to be inaugurated inside the U.S. Capitol in Washington. Chicago Southside Republican Chairman Devin Jones said he expects the new administration to be a breath of fresh air.
And it seems like there's going to be an era of government accountability, which is what our Constitution upholds.
Jones said he listened to confirmation hearings for Trump's nominee for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth.
As a Navy veteran, I know how incompetent the Department of Defense has been, and to think that that department hasn't passed an audit.
Jones said he looked forward to making Illinois less corrupt once the federal government is in its proper place. I'm Jim Talamonte.
President-elect Donald Trump is just a day away from being sworn in to office for a second term, or actually just hours now. Some Illinois residents are worried about being deported. Local Catholic priest Larry Dowling.
It is really important to be present, to let people know not only that we're praying with them, but we'll be there, wherever we can to support them.
Archbishop Blaise Supich was on a pilgrimage in Mexico City, and meeting with the faithful there had these words about Chicago deportation plans.
If the reports are true, it should be known that we would oppose any plan that includes a mass deportation of U.S. citizens born of undocumented parents.
Some plans may be curtailed after weekend leaks of plans from some immigration officials. AM 560 is your home for Inauguration Day festivities. We will begin our inauguration coverage with Fox News beginning at 10 a.m. Cook County Sheriff's Office has confirmed that a deputy was killed by straight gunfire while on vacation in Turks and Caicos over the weekend. Shimon Duncan and a man who lived in Turks and Caicos were killed in a bar Saturday night. Duncan, a 20-year veteran of the county's Department of Corrections, was not targeted by the gunfire, which local officials say was stray and random. One person was killed. A second person was taken to the hospital. That after a stabbing in an apartment building in the South Loop. Stabbing happened around 8:50 last night in the 1500 block of South Wabash. A man in his 40s was found dead at the scene. Chicago police say no arrests have been made. 3 are dead following a fiery car crash in Glenview. Police say the accident happened early yesterday near the intersection of Westlake Avenue and Fingston Road. An elderly Lombard man is charged with killing his wife and will remain behind bars. Charles Witter appeared in court Saturday on 2 counts of first-degree murder. Authorities say the 81-year-old called 911 and requested police help because he said he had shot his wife during an argument. Judge John Robert Blakey is scheduled to review jury instructions with attorneys tomorrow at the federal corruption trial of former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. With the jury not scheduled to return until Wednesday, the judge planned to meet with prosecutors and defense attorneys Tuesday afternoon. Closing is expected to occur Wednesday through Friday. Former White Sox manager Jeff Torborg is dead at the age of 83. Torborg spent 10 seasons in Major League Baseball as a catcher. Before becoming a manager, he led the Southsiders from 1989 through 1991. He was named AL Manager of the Year after leading the team to a 94-68 record in 1990. But honestly, he may be more famous for being a catcher. Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown tells us that Torborg caught Sandy Koufax's perfect game, Bill Singer's no-hitter, and Nolan Ryan's first career no-hitter. Jeff Torborg, dead at the age of 83. Number 5, Notre Dame battles number 6, Ohio State in the national championship game tonight in Atlanta. NFL Sunday, Chiefs knock off visiting Houston. Buffalo beat the Ravens. On the West Coast, Bulls fade in the second half and lose to Portland 113-102. They're at the Clippers tonight. The Blackhawks will host Carolina. Bears interview 5 more candidates for their head coaching vacancy, including Tennessee State head football coach Eddie George yesterday. Bears, a top 3 pick for Lions OC Ben Johnson. College hoops, number 20 Fighting Illini dropped 2 of 3 following an 80-78 loss to a really tough number 12 ranked Michigan State squad in East Lansing. The Illini host Maryland Thursday. Northwestern fell to number 19 Michigan 80-76 at Chrysler Arena. Brooks Barnheiser 21 in the losing effort in overtime, while Nick Martinelli had 20. The Cats host Indiana Wednesday. The news is a service of Rapid Radio's Push to Talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage, a great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash.
It's your life, your legacy. Shouldn't it be your choice? For nearly 2 centuries, Catholic Cemetery Chicago has been a haven for families, offering sacred spaces to honor these legacies. Take an active role by pre-planning your final arrangements. Alleviate your loved ones a future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of no interest payments and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
So how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Gonna be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Burt directly, or even better, have your attorney call Burt at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150. No one knows arbitration like Burt Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Burt at Schiller, Ducanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
This is Larry Elder, inviting you to join Mike Gallagher, Jennifer Horn, Joe Piscopo, and me on the Patriots Alaska Cruise. Visit travelwithsalem.com to secure your spot. From engaging discussions with us to exploring majestic glaciers, this luxurious trip in August is your chance to experience the best of both worlds, patriotism and adventure. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity to cruise with like-minded Americans. Reserve your cabin today with travelwithsalem.com. That's travelwithsalem.com, or call 855-565-5519.
512 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Piatone and accident, Governor's Highway northbound just after Piatone Road. That's a freight train and vehicle accident being dealt with by emergency officials there. Overturned vehicle, Addison Street, Oak Park Avenue on the northwest side, and delays on the Stevenson. You've got an accident scattered onto both shoulders outbound on the Stevenson at Cicero. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Let's get the very latest with Steve Williams.
A cold weather advisory in effect this morning and then again tonight. Sunshine, few clouds, frigid and breezy today. High this afternoon at 12. Clear, frigid night tonight, low -7. And then sunny, frigid day tomorrow, the high only 5. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
1 below at O'Hare, 3 below in Aurora, 3 below at DuPage Airport, 2 below in Morris and Romeoville, and 0 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world, one life at a time.
You know, I'm 80 years old, I'm a veteran, and the reds and the greens, I really appreciate the vegan capsules from Balance of Nature. So I can definitely tell you it's all 100% positive. It really, really works.
I love the fiber and spice. I'm getting started back on the fruits and vegetables, but the fiber and spice, it's the best fiber I've ever taken in the last 20 years.
It's the best gift I've ever given myself. I just feel better. I swear it's due to Balance of Nature.
I am really, really happy with the product and couldn't say more to advise people to buy them.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
For over 100 years, St. Andrew's Lutheran School in the heart of Park Ridge has been dedicated to education excellence, spiritual growth, and service to the community. Parents continue to express their gratitude to the school for all it has to offer their children.
My second child just graduated from St. Andrew's Lutheran School in Park Ridge. Not only did both place into advanced classes in high school, but St. Andrew's teachers have enabled me to achieve my most important goal as a parent, to be confident that they know their Savior and that they'll be with me in heaven someday.
From kindergarten through 8th grade, your child will learn in a Christ-centered, individualized, nurturing environment. Take a tour, visit with faculty, and register for the upcoming school year on Sunday, January 26th from noon to 2. For details, visit St. Andrew's Lutheran School in Park Ridge online at standrewspr.org. Provide your child with the gift of a Christ-centered St. Andrews education. Find out more today at standrewspr.org.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them. Not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at CrosscomInc.com. That's CrosscomInc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
Jeff Tishlar, author of High Tech versus the Highest Tech, has shared his knowledge of the spectacular things that we see in nature, as opposed to what man has created, and how this should inform one's faith. Jeff served on the mission field all over the world and has created this highly illustrated and concisely written technical book. The easy-to-read format is understood from the youngest reader to the most intelligent and mature readers. Google and Amazon book reviews include, "This is the best little book I have ever read. It is amazing how much information is in this book." And a beautifully written and illustrated book. The author has a gift for describing complicated technical details in a very understandable style. This book is available now in paperback on Amazon. Search High Tech versus the Highest Tech by Jeff Tishlar. 100% of proceeds go to missions. That's High Tech vs. the Highest Tech by Jeff Tishlar.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J this morning, John Cass. JohnCassNews.com sporting his No Trump Alone's hat, of course.
Good morning.
Uh-huh.
I have to turn the mic on.
Yeah, we hear you. Yeah. You just got to speak into the clown's mouth then when you're ready to say something. Just remember that. So today's the big day. Inauguration Day has finally arrived. Also observing Martin Luther King Day, of course. Inauguration Day has arrived, so Joe Biden gets to shuffle off into the wilderness at this point. Although he's not going away quietly. In fact, he tells us,
"I'm not going anywhere."
Yeah, Joe.
I'm
not kidding.
He's not kidding. Of course he's not kidding. No, seriously. No, listen. I don't know if he knows that his term has expired.
Does he know that he's not writing the executive orders that are the pardons for all his friends?
You know, it's interesting. That's true. There was a few more pardons and commutations over the weekend. Commutations, mainly, from what I saw. But I was a bit surprised that, for example, James Biden, none of those preemptive pardons that we were concerned about were issued, and this is after Jim Comer. What now? Jim Comer last week,
right?
Openly and notoriously referred James Biden for prosecution to incoming Attorney General Pam Bondi. So I was expecting a preemptive for at least Jimmy Biden.
Well, is there time still?
Technically, until I guess Trump is inaugurated.
Right.
Yeah,
so
until
he
he's sworn
still
in.
they still have time to slip it in, right? And I think they will.
Well, preemptive pardons. Will he break that seal? That's about the last shoe to drop at this point. Although there were some surprising ones. So he is not going to enforce the TikTok ban that was passed by Congress, signed into law by him. Not going to enforce that. He's going to defer to Trump. And we'll talk at length about the TikTok ban because, of course, Trump announced this EO to provide more time for a sale of TikTok to an American interest. But he's not going to do that, but just thinking about outgoing Biden. He's not going to enforce a law he signed, but he is going to ratify an amendment that the several states and the U.S. Congress did not.
Because
Today,
he's Biden.
I affirm the Equal Rights Amendment to have cleared all the necessary hurdles to be added to the U.S. Constitution now.
Full speed ahead. Dan with torpedoes.
The Equal Rights Amendment is the law of the land now. It's the 28th Amendment to the Constitution now.
You ever walk into a bar and see at the end of the bar an old man screaming about his accomplishments and his conquests?
Old man screams at clouds. It's like Grandpa Simpson. I mean, this is another Grandpa Simpson moment of many.
That's his legacy.
Mr. President, no, it's not. It's not. The 28th Amendment is not a 28th Amendment. It is not the law of the land. In fact, the archivists of the United States took time away from trying to instigate raids at Mar-a-Lago to notify the outgoing administration that at this time the ERA cannot be certified as part of the Constitution due to established legal, judicial, and procedural decisions. That was bizarre, and it was bizarre. I mean, apparently all the staff
just announced it. You mean?
Yeah, the staff and even Jill Biden has apparently abdicated because now nobody is there to say, you can say that, but that's not the case. That's not
how the law works, buddy.
I know he's feeling his oats because he was able to flout judicial decisions when it came to the socialization of student loan debt, what the D.C. Press Corps calls student college loan debt forgiveness. But that's not what it was. It was the socialization of other people's encumbrances. Anyway, so that was a bit strange, I thought. But, I mean, I suppose in keeping, interesting, just on that topic of his diminished capacity to be quite generous, despite the fact that I know exacting, probing, dizzying intellect, still a tiger in the sack. I got all that. But
sharp as a tack.
Yeah. Speaker Johnson, Mike Johnson, sat down with Barry Weiss from the Free Press, and he recounted a story that I hadn't heard before. I don't think many people did. I don't think he's told the story before. Maybe he should have. This is him saying when he knew that Biden was not in charge of his faculties, nor by extension the White House. This is in 2023, after Johnson had assumed the speakership, and he went to discuss Ukraine funding, and he also wanted to discuss at the time, you remember this bizarre decision that Joe Biden made to put a pause on U.S. natural gas exports, which, of course, Mike Johnson's particularly interested in, given that he's a congressman from Louisiana. Right. So this is Mike Johnson's story.
But we had some big national concerns at the time that I was losing sleep over. Finally, I just went to the Hill Press Corps and I said, the president is not being allowed to meet with the speaker. There's a problem. So they started putting pressure on him. Long story short, they finally relented. They invited me to the White House. I show up and I realize it's actually an ambush because it's not just me and the president. It's also Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem, the CIA director, everybody. And then, so I walked in the Oval and, I know what this is. They're going to hotbox the speaker on Ukraine funding. That's what it was. This is probably third week of January. We sit down, we're in the midst of it, and the whole conversation, and I'm going, we don't need to have this conversation. The president reaches over just like this. We're sitting right next to the fireplace in the Oval, and he grabs my arm and he says, the speaker and I just need a couple minutes together. Would y'all just leave us alone? And I looked up on the faces of some of the staff standing around the wall, and they're like, oh, no, he did it. So he called it. He's the commander-in-chief. So everybody leaves, and he and I are standing awkwardly in the middle of the Oval Office right over the rug by that coffee table. And I said, Mr. President, thanks for the moments. This is very important. I got some big national security things I need to talk to you about that I've heard, and I think you know, and what do we do? But first, real quickly, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? I don't understand, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me, stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country? Like, I don't know who put the paper in front of him, but he didn't know.
What did he do about it?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line and text line. What did who do about what?
What did Speaker Johnson do about the fact that the president was non compos mentis?
I think the decision clearly was to do nothing other than to suggest, actually to allow a lot of surrogates to suggest that he was non compos mentis. But you know, the flip side of that argument is the one I was making too. Oh, really? Everybody, the D.C. press corps and all the power structure of the Democrat Socialist Party is telling us Joe Biden is this exacting, probing wonderkind. Oh, okay, fine. We'll put it before the American people, see what they think. See if anybody is buying this. So it's a little, I know, but it's a little bit of a. I could see going both directions. One is in the interest of the country, but I mean, whether Biden has the capacity or doesn't have the capacity, the policy decisions wouldn't have been any different because he's a company man. And so you want to perpetrate this fraud on the American people, go right ahead. Go right ahead and perpetrate this fraud and see if we'll essentially suggest through surrogates that it's a fraud, and we'll see who buys what and who's convinced. Because, of course, now they have really done damage to their brand. In point of fact, CNN has only 1 in 3 Americans with a favorable view of the Democrat Party, which is their lowest approval rating or favorability rating in 30 years. So Biden has done a lot of the Republicans bidding for them, and so have all of those around him by this fraud that they perpetrated. Now, by the way, before you get too excited, the favorability rating of Republicans among all Americans is about 36%. So a lot of work to do there. But again, the old saw that if your enemy is destroying himself, then do not interrupt. And I think that's the approach Republicans took. Greg and LaGrange, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Let me take the other side of that, and good morning, John.
Hey, good morning.
I'll take John's perceived side. I think there is an obligation that if Speaker Johnson knew that our president, and let me just make myself clear. I don't care what party you are. If you're in leadership and you can't do the job, but you're clearly harming the country, it doesn't take cause and effect followed one by the other immediately to take action somehow and become even more determined to move him out of a position of leadership. Because let's look at what he's done, right? Let's look at the most extreme condition. He could have triggered a nuclear war. Okay. Let's assume that the powers that be would not allow him to do that. But look at what has been done in this administration. It's a ticking time bomb instead of the pushing of the button. In my opinion, what they've done is created so many landmines. You have to navigate a landmine, whether it be economically with the debt that they piled up in the last quarter of the fiscal year and all the way through December, to our border situation, to the destruction of our children for policies, Title IX. I'm really conflicted, Dan and John, because Mike Johnson in one position held the line, and I give him credit for that. But I want more out of my political leadership to say these guys have to get together and say this guy is clearly a problem.
Well, here's what
we need to do.
Well, here's my actual position on it, which is to say, first of all, I mean, what you're describing is all true, but it was all done with the overwhelming support of all the rank and file Democrats in Congress and around the country. So that's number one, in terms of the policies wouldn't have changed at all and didn't. But number two, I think Mike Johnson should have entered that story into the record when it happened. And he should have said, look, I hear what the other side's saying. If you believe that, go ahead and believe that. I'm just going to tell you what my experience is. So as long as there wasn't sort of some whatever happens in this discussion is off the record and so forth. But he didn't mention that now. And if it was off the record, it's off the record forever. And now he's on the record. So I would, if I was Mike Johnson, I would have disclosed it. I would have said, for your consideration, you don't want to believe me? Don't believe me. You want to believe Ali Mayorkas and the rest of them? Then believe them. And, come what may. That's the way I would have played it.
Let me just say this. I mean, I've listened to you forever, right? I've listened to your podcast, your prior podcast, illuminating, one of the best things that ever happened to me, honest to God. And you've been pounding this, you've been sawing this piece of wood forever. The Republicans don't get out there and they don't pound things home. They don't pound it home. And when they have a chance to get in front of a microphone, Johnson should have been pounding this home every day. Every day they should have 5 things that they should rotate every day and make a soundbite on it, because there's more than 5 things in this country that the other party has done to destroy this country. And I mean, sow the seeds of destruction, and they don't do it enough. Maybe you need to become part of leadership and become part of the political process or someone like you, to get these guys to open their mouths and speak on behalf of the country as a whole, not as a partisan left or right, but as a whole, because what happened the last 4 years, thank God they're the stupid party, and they're not as wise and crafty as a vicious dictator like Stalin, because God knows where we'd be.
Thanks for the call, Greg. Appreciate it. Appreciate your support these many years. Coming up at 5:38. All right, enough looking backwards. It's time to look forward. Inauguration Day, and Trump already has a lot on his plate and a lot he intends to do on day one. We'll discuss that. 5:38. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
It's 5:32 in Chicago, 1 below zero. And Donald Trump will be sworn in today as the 47th president of the United States.
President Biden spent his final full day in office in South Carolina, touring the International African American Museum in Charleston.
We must know the good, the bad, and the truth about who we are. That's what great nations do. And we're a great nation.
This morning, President Biden and the First Lady will welcome President-elect Trump and Mrs. Trump to the White House for a coffee and tea reception. The two couples then head to the Capitol for the swearing in of the new president. Following the inauguration, President Biden and the First Lady will fly to Santa Barbara, California. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
It appears that President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General Pam Bondi will be confirmed shortly, after she testified before the Senate last week. On Fox's Sunday Night in America, Trey Gowdy talked with Vermont Democrat Peter Welch about what he liked about Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi is very, very qualified. I quite admire the career that she's had. I admire her grit running for Attorney General and winning in Florida.
Welch disagrees with a few other Democrats who have been sharply critical of Bondi. TikTok is back online in the United States.
So they'll have a partner, the United States, and they'll have a lot of bidders, and the United States will do what we call a joint venture. And there's no risk. We're not putting up any money. All we're doing is giving them the approval, without which they don't have anything.
Donald Trump had a weekend rally. The app was dark for about 16 hours, Saturday evening through Sunday. The first hostages released by Hamas are being treated at a hospital in Tel Aviv. IDF officials say 3 Israeli women appear to be in good health this morning after being released from captivity, part of that ceasefire deal in Gaza. At least 2 Americans are among those expected to be released as well. Bitterly cold weather hitting the Midwest, Chicago area squarely in the bullseye this ML King Jr. Day. The National Weather Service says wind chills could drop as low as 25 below zero. Dr. William Weber is with Rush University Medical Center.
The biggest thing you can do is just try to get indoors. So get to a normal temperature where your body can warm up. If you don't have shelter, you can always call 311. Chicago has warming centers.
A number of Illinois Democrats will be skipping out on President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration today. Some Democrats will be there, like Brad Schneider, Bill Foster, and U.S. Senator Dick Durbin. Illinois Republicans are hoping for positive change after Donald Trump's inauguration today. Southside Pastor Corey Brooks is in the nation's capital.
Regardless of who the president is, as an American, we all need to be supportive and praying for the success of our president.
President-elect Donald Trump is just hours away from being sworn in, and some here in the Chicago area are worried about being deported. Local Catholic priest Father Larry Dowling gathered with them at a mass yesterday.
It is really important to be present, to let people know not only that we're praying with them, but we'll be there, wherever we can to support them.
Chicago Archbishop Blaise Supich was on a pilgrimage in Mexico City and made these comments.
If the reports are true, it should be known that we would oppose any plan that includes a mass deportation of U.S. citizens born of undocumented parents.
Some plans may be curtailed after weekend leaks of plans from immigration officials. AM 560 is your home for Inauguration Day 2025. Our coverage with our Fox News begins at 10 a.m. this morning. College football, number 5 Notre Dame battles number 6 Ohio State in the national championship game tonight. NFL Sunday, Chiefs beat Houston. Buffalo beat the Ravens. Bulls lost to Portland 113-102. They visit the Clippers tonight, and the Blackhawks host Carolina. 5:37. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash.
This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auctions. Here's a fact. Extra cash is a really good thing right now. Here's another fact. There has never been a better market for antique items than right now. Donley Auctions wants everything you have when it comes to antique collections. Their worldwide audience is waiting to give you top dollar for them. Call them at 815-923-7000. If you have a weapon of any kind, any military items, they are in desperate need of military items and guns, as they are a state and federal licensed arms dealer. So you don't have to worry about any of the nonsense they can go with other auction sites. Give them a call, 815-923-7000, or go to DonleyAuctions.com. If you have classic cars, old signs, coin-operated machines, the list is crazy long of the items they want to help you sell. If somebody has passed away and you have estate items, antiques, they are in desperate need. Just call 815-923-7000. They're waiting for your call now.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
So when we saw the advertisements for this by reputable people, I told my husband, I said, well, we don't have anything to lose, so let's do it. Within a month, I could see a difference. It's really great. Y'all should let me do those commercials. Do you know how many people I have gotten to take Balance of Nature?
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
540. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency. Go to surroundchicago.com today. Northwest side, overturned vehicle, Addison and Oak Park Avenue. Skokie, an accident, Dempster and Grosse Pointe Road. Peatone, an accident with injuries, Governor's Highway and Peatone Road. And delays on I-55, an accident, center lane blocked. Northbound on 55, right before the Veterans Memorial Toll. That's I-355. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Frigid, breezy this afternoon, high 11, wind chills in the negative numbers. Clear and frigid, low of 7 below. Overnight, by tomorrow morning, wind chills will push 25 below. That's wind chill. Plenty of sunshine, though, tomorrow, but still frigid. High of 5 above. Currently 2 below at O'Hare, 0 at Midway, 4 below in Aurora. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J this morning is media oligarch, JohnCastNews.com, who presides over the JohnCastNews.com empire.
Darkcast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. You know what you need? In addition to Darkcast swag, like for days like today, you need like no chumbalone earmuffs and scarves. The baseball cap isn't enough.
I'm going to concentrate on what I know best right now.
Beer can chicken?
I haven't stuck a beer can up a chicken's behind in a dog's age.
Those were the days. Yeah, that's living.
TP living, as we say.
Okay, so we talked about outgoing. Now let's talk about incoming. Trump is taking office today, you may have heard. He'll be sworn in today. Had a little rally last night. And the preparations, because, of course, some people are disappointed that the inauguration is being moved inside because of the weather.
Because they want to freeze.
Oh, right. Probably. I mean, there's a lot of hardy Midwesterners who go to Lambeau Field in the winter or Soldier Field, like if this was the 1980s and the Bears ever made the playoffs. But the idea, probably a benefit to security prep. CBS Mornings had a profile on the security preparations. This is a concern, of course, to Trump supporters, given 2 assassination attempts during the 2024 campaign. Understandable. Here's what's happening.
From only 150 feet in the air, pilots dodge buildings.
And tower on your left side. Got it.
Flying in a grid over the National Mall to scan for radiological or nuclear irregularities, threats like dirty bombs.
So you're trying to create a blueprint of what the radiation in Washington, D.C. looks like ahead of the inauguration. Correct.
Department of Energy scientist Jacqueline Brandon calls this low-flying helicopter one of just 2 of its kind, her office.
If we find a radiological irregularity, we'll investigate it even further.
Highly sensitive technology sets off alarms in the air.
That's an alarm. That is an alarm. It's a slight variation in our spectra is what it's saying.
On the ground, a mission led and meticulously rehearsed by the U.S. Secret Service at their training facility in Maryland. Agents role-playing worst-case scenarios.
Can we try a vehicle having a flat tire? Can we try someone having a heart attack? These are all the things we want to mentally prepare for because we have an immediate action for all those things.
Michael Thomas is the coordinator for the big day.
The amount of fencing and the amount of personnel that we bring in for this inauguration eclipses all other inaugurations that we have.
About 25,000 law enforcement and military personnel will safeguard the inauguration, including 7,800 National Guard authorized to protect the nation's capital and its 250,000 ticketed guests. Throughout the city, a ring of steel, 30 miles of anti-scale fencing. And along the icy Potomac, more than 25 Coast Guard vessels lined up.
Ready to deploy.
Ready to deploy.
Captain Patrick Burkett says teams are now prepping frozen waterways for patrol after a recent storm.
That put a lot of strain and stress on our resources and our personnel, and everyone knew that January was going to be a busy month.
Dubbed a national special security event demanding the highest level of federal protection, the inauguration comes just days after 2 others, January 6th electoral count and former President Jimmy Carter's funeral.
So 25,000 law enforcement and military personnel on duty for an anticipated 250,000 ticketed guests in the area.
We're not a police state, yeah.
Well, but I mean, just in terms of securing the footprint and what you got a little taste of from that CBS report, I mean, it seems like there's certainly the resources necessary to have everything go off without a hitch, assuming they are deployed properly and different law enforcement agencies can actually communicate with one another, which is not always the case, as we've unfortunately had to find out.
Who's going to be in charge of Secret Service besides the titular front man, Kristi Noem? Who is really going to be in charge? Somebody like Dan Bongino, somebody like that who knows what they're doing?
Well, with the Department of Homeland Security, I mean, Kristi Noem hasn't been sworn in yet.
No, she has not.
Yeah, so it's still Ali Mayorkas at the top of that pyramid, which, of course, doesn't inspire much confidence. But, again, I don't know that there's a lot to discuss with respect to securing the area for the day. But the sense is that, they're taking it pretty seriously. As I said, the resource allocation seems appropriate, and now it's a matter of management and distribution, which, of course, is always the case with the federal government. Corey in Woodlawn, on the ground in D.C. Corey?
Hey, thanks for taking the call, Dan. Thanks, Cass, for filling in today.
Hey.
I'm in my nation's capital. I'm here. I've got my tickets from Tammy Duckworth from the Senate building. She was at the Hart building this time. Last time she was at the Dirksen building. But it's just symbolic now. So we're getting up. We're going to eat some breakfast at the Founding Fathers, and we're going to try to figure out if we can see him on one of the Jumbotrons. But I do see the wall of fencing. I do see the heavy police presence. So they're out here in D.C.
All right. Well, have fun out there. And please don't foment an insurrection, Corey, while you're there. All right.
Or at least wear an appropriate costume.
Yes. Well. All right. So, I don't know. Some people really get into the pageantry of these events.
Not me.
Yeah, I'm not that way either. So I want to get right down to business. The good thing is Trump does too. The anticipation is that he'll sign more than 200 executive orders today. Boy, I mean, it's pretty exhaustive in terms of the topics to cover, the policy areas. End catch and release, pause all offshore wind leases, terminate the EV mandate, abolish the Green New Deal. I don't know if he can do that. Withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord. Declare a national border emergency. Direct the U.S. military to work with DHS. Establish a national priority to eliminate all criminal cartels. Close the border to all illegal aliens via proclamation. Create task forces for the protection of Homeland Security with officers from FBI, IC, CEA, and other agencies on the cartels. Institute remain in Mexico. Unleash Alaskan energy. Suspend the security clearances of the 51 national security officials who lied about the Hunter Biden laptop. That's
all right,
good.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Well, I mean, the other stuff generally is pretty important too.
Yeah.
Reestablish the biological sex definitions. And most importantly to me, rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America so that my property value in Naples goes up.
I like that. The jingoism is perfect there.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line, what would you like to see from Trump on day one that's not already contemplated with all of those actions that I just ticked off, anticipated actions that I just ticked off? And speaking of tick, we'll talk about TikTok a little bit later with John Tammany. But let's start with the border because that is so central. And Tom Homan, who is the border point
the hard sheriff
man, yes, he is Gary Cooper in High Noon. Tom Homan was on Fox News on Sunday talking about the rollout of his resources to begin the deportations of people who pose a public safety threat to this country, something he's concerned about. Public officials in Chicago and Illinois much less concerned. There was reporting that he was going to roll out 200 to 200 agents in Chicago on Tuesday and begin to pull people out of Chicago who pose threats to the public safety, which would be nice. But that got leaked, and so he had a comment on that. But first, what he wants, generally speaking, and this is specifically to your sanctuary state and city politicians, seems a pretty reasonable request. Start where you'll find a lot of threats to public safety, the jails.
Look, ICE is going to be, we're going to take the handcuffs off ICE that they've had put on by the Biden administration, and let them go do their job. And the president's been clear, I've been clear. Right out of the gate, we're concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats. So I find it troubling to this day that any sanctuary city, any elected official, does not want public safety threats removed from their communities. Let us into the jail. Because if you let us into the jail, we can arrest a bad guy in the jail, right? But if you release them into the community, it puts the community at risk, puts our officers at risk, it puts the alien at risk, because anything can happen on an outside arrest. So let us into jails. It's safer for everybody.
Let us into the jails. Is that such an unreasonable request?
It should have been followed years ago when a man named Dennis McCann was killed, a Chicagoan. And you've talked about this, and so have I written about it. He was murdered by a drunken driver named Saul Chavez, who was protected as an illegal, was protected by Tony Preckwinkle and the rest of the Democratic Party in Cook County, and was released. They didn't tell ICE, and he ran to Mexico. Now he's apparently been caught.
Well, right. Let us into the jails.
Right.
To start with people in this country illegally who are in custody. That makes pretty good sense, and it certainly runs counter to the histrionics you're hearing from the open borders crowd in the media and in the advocacy community
They want
about
conflict.
the anxiousness that people feel for their kids in schools and so forth.
Right.
We'll get to that. Kristi Noem, by the way, made an important statement at her confirmation hearing for Homeland Security Secretary last week. One of the problem areas, and there are many, but and Tom Homan, let's just stay on the Tom Homan program. That would be my advice and counsel to basically everybody in the federal government. He's got a handle on it. He is the General Patton on this matter. But Kristi Noem did say, so she's on board, about the CBP One app, where people who wanted to come to this country illegally could schedule a flight at taxpayer expense to do so?
Yes, Senator, if confirmed, and I have the opportunity to be secretary on day one, CBP One will be shut down.
No, that's a start. That's a start,
At least
too.
she didn't say that dog won't hunt.
Too soon. Still mourning the loss.
Sorry.
The News Nation.
Sorry, I love dogs.
News Nation also reporting on self-deportations. That's something that's happening.
Right now, Mark, it's unclear, but we are starting to see a trend, and this comes as cities across the U.S. and Mexico are now bracing for President-elect's deportation operation. But his hardline messaging on those deportation efforts have some migrants panicking and some even choosing now to self-deport back to their home countries. I spoke with immigration attorney Rolando Vasquez, who tells me that some of the immigrants that he represents that entered under the Biden administration are now choosing to return home, fearing deportation under the incoming administration.
Just as recent as yesterday, they notified me that they were going to depart the country voluntarily, and understanding that, the Trump administration is going to carry through on their promises.
And it's not just Trump's deportation plans that are influenced these decisions. Vasquez says it's also that Mexico is now open to accepting non-Mexican deportees. Mexico's move would impact Cuban and Venezuelan migrants the most, since those countries typically do not accept deportation flights from the U.S., but may from Mexico.
This is causing for many migrants to leave on their own, knowing that they're either going to be deported to their home country or be deported to Mexico. And they obviously, the overwhelming majority of them do not want to be in Mexico.
Well, there you go, boy. Things are changing quite rapidly once you start to draw some lines and people take you seriously about the lines that you've drawn. And that's exactly what's happening. By the way, in addition to self-deportation going on, self-deportation out of the State Department is also happening. Washington Post, Amazon Post. What's the new tagline for the Amazon Post? It's not democracy dies in the darkness anymore. It's like compelling stories for all Americans or something ridiculous. Anyway, scores of career State Department diplomats resigned before Trump's inauguration. Trump team requesting high-level resignations. That's a sharp break from the Biden administration. Get out. Bye-bye. We don't want you. The deep state, this is right, go after people in this country illegally by drawing the line, setting the tone. Same thing with the deep state. This is great because Trump has effectively been the president for the last 2 months, unbeknownst to Joe Biden, and movement is happening.
We have to hunt the rats down. They must be hunted down, and there must be an accounting, a reckoning, or we don't have a country. We're not done. This is not done by any means.
Right. No, of course not. But the early stages are encouraging.
Yes.
What we're seeing. Chris in Lamont.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Good morning, John.
Hey.
Other things we'd like to see Trump do: immediate hiring freeze.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I'm on board with that. Thanks for the call, Chris.
He did. I think that's one of the executive orders.
Okay, I hope so. Steve in Downers Grove.
Dan and John, good morning. I need your advice. I'm going to be in Fort Myers and Naples the entire month of March, and I want to buy a Gulf of America T-shirt. I don't buy many tourist trinkets, but this year I want to get a Gulf of America T-shirt. Any idea where I can score one of those?
I assume there'll be at least bootleg T-shirts, maybe not MAGA World approved trademark, the Trump trademark on it, but yeah, I'm looking around for bootleg T-shirts with the Gulf of America too. Once this gets a little bit more profile, I assume they'll be at some of the trinket shops.
Head out to
Steve.
Sam's in Goodland, drink some beer, go fishing. Forget the T-shirts.
Well, you can get a T-shirt and go fishing.
It's a waste of time. You need to get some redfish on the line, and you need some snook because they're coming out of the creek soon. The cricks, as we say.
Not in Florida, we don't. Bob in Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan, and good to hear you, John. You didn't mention the J6 people. Does Trump have the list in place with regards to the ones he wants to release? And will he actually keep a few of them still in jail for their property destruction and attacking the Capitol Police or whatever? So that's the one I'm wondering about, what's going to go on with J6 and how the media and the public's going to respond to that.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Bob. I think I've read the suggestion that there will be some J6 related pardons announced today. I can't confirm that. Maybe Mike Scott can, but I have read suggestions that that's going to happen. But it's not going to be blanket, which shouldn't surprise us because that's what Trump has indicated. That's what Vance has said explicitly. That's what Bondi essentially said during her confirmation hearing last week. So I think we're going to have some, the easy ones, and then we'll proceed from there. All right, coming up at 6:06, that would be. We turn our attention to a matter of John's old employer, the Chicago Tribune, and yet another example of why these major dailies like the Tribune are going the way of the Laserdisc. This installment is one of platforming foolish, transparent anti-Catholic bigotry. We'll discuss at 6:06, but now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
There is a slate of J6 candidates, by the way. Names are not known, according to two sources, including one CNN, out of the 1,270 people who've been convicted. The slate is there. Names are unknown as of right now.
There you go.
Bitterly cold temperatures hitting the Chicago area. Cook County Sheriff's deputy killed by stray gunfire in Turks and Caicos. And details on a crash in Glenview that killed 3. Blackhawks host Carolina tonight. The Illini fall to Michigan State, and Northwestern falls to the Wolverines in OT. WIND Chicago News Time, 6.
This hasn't happened in 132 years. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President-elect Trump will return to the White House in 5 hours following in Grover Cleveland's footsteps as a defeated president returning to the White House.
Everyone in our country will prosper. Every family will thrive.
and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope.
That was from a Trump pre-inauguration rally last night. He'll be sworn in near where Fox's Madeline Rivera is.
President-elect Trump will be sworn in at the Capitol Rotunda behind me by noon Eastern time. After that, Trump will deliver his inaugural address. President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris will leave the Capitol after those ceremonies, completing the peaceful transfer of power. Trump is expected to sign a series of executive orders shortly after being sworn in.
About 200 executive orders, a record, 11 of them related to border security. And the president-elect's plans to keep out illegal immigrants and deport some of those who came here in a record surge under President Biden. There will also be energy-related orders.
He is going to unleash American energy. That is what the senior official who was authorized to describe all of these actions to me told me. That is the saying that, of course, we heard out on the campaign trail. Then he's going to end Biden's electric vehicle mandate. He's going to end the Green New Deal, and he is going to take the United States back out of the Paris Climate Accord.
Well, that's Fox's Brooks Singman. The president-elect also plans to extend TikTok's timeline to work out a deal after the social media app went dark for a short time yesterday under a law mandating TikTok cut ties with its Chinese parent company. The ceasefire still holds in Gaza the day after Hamas released the first of the 33 hostages that will be set free in a prisoner swap.
3 Israeli hostages were reunited with their loved ones here in Israel. Such emotional moments between these family members after 470 days.
That's Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv. America's listening to Fox News.
1 below zero on this Monday morning. ML King Jr. Day and Inauguration Day here on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. And bitterly cold for the Midwest. Chicago is in the bullseye. Dr. William Weber is with Rush University Medical Center.
Just try to get indoors. So get to a normal temperature where your body can warm up. If you don't have shelter, you can always call 311. Chicago has warming centers.
And warming centers are open throughout the suburbs as well. A number of Illinois Democrats are skipping out on President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration today, including names like Chuy Garcia, Mike Quigley, Raja Krishnamurthy, and Jan Schakowsky. Several names will be there, like Brad Schneider, Democrat Bill Foster, and Laura Underwood, along with U.S. Senator Dick Durbin. Many Illinois Republicans are hoping for positive change after Donald Trump's inauguration as president, including Southside Pastor Corey Brooks, who is in the nation's capital.
Regardless of who the president is, as an American, we all need to be supportive and praying for the success of our president.
President-elect Trump is just hours away from being sworn in, and some in the Chicago area are worried about being deported. Local Catholic priest Father Larry Dowling gathered with them at a mass yesterday.
It is really important to be present, to let people know not only that we're praying with them, but we'll be there, wherever we can to support them.
Illinois GOP co-chair Aaron Del Mar is in Washington this morning and monitoring deportation efforts.
Trying to find ways to bring other resources back to Illinois and to be able to be heard from the government side. There's a lot of concern in Chicago right now about mass deportation, so that's something that I've got my ear next to.
Some plans may be curtailed after weekend leaks of plans. In other news we're following, Cook County Sheriff's Office has confirmed that a deputy was killed by stray gunfire on vacation in Turks and Caicos over the weekend. Shimon Duncan was a 20-year veteran of the county's Department of Corrections. One person was killed, a second person hospitalized, all after a stabbing at an apartment building in the South Loop. The attack happened around 8:50 last night along South Wabash. A man in his 40s found dead. Chicago police say no arrests have been made. 3 are dead following a fiery car crash in Glenview. Police say the accident happened early yesterday near Westlake and Finkston Road. That crash remains under investigation. The Bulls fade in the second half of a 113-102 loss to Portland. They visit the Clippers tonight. Blackhawks host Carolina. Bears interview 5 more candidates for their head coaching vacancy, including Vikings DC Brian Flores. College hoops, Fighting Illini fall 80-78 to number 12 Michigan State, and Northwestern fell in overtime to Michigan 80-76. 6:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees the finger pointing in California.
There are all kinds of drama about, how dare you criticize the LA Fire Department? How dare you criticize Democrats? You're a racist if you do so. They've managed to have a healthy dose of race baiting injected into the debate over why they can't put the fires out in California in Los Angeles County.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Come on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
This month and every month, we remember the over 66 million babies whose lives have been senselessly sacrificed on the altar of abortion. Surely, the left doesn't understand the repercussions of a land that takes the blood of the innocent, and that should only motivate us more to save more babies and their moms. Preborn is a network of clinics, and they fight every day to save more babies and more moms. To date, they've rescued over 300,000 babies' lives by introducing a mom to her child on an ultrasound. That baby's chance at life doubles. Preborn showers moms and babies with God's love and assistance for up to 2 years. So when they shout abortion, we shout life. Let's save more babies this year than last. One ultrasound is just $28, and only $140 will help rescue 5 babies. All of the gifts are tax deductible. So donate securely. Dial pound 250. Say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, keyword baby. Or go to preborn.com/Beck. Preborn.com/Beck. Sponsored by Preborn.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. 44 years ago, Ronald Reagan prepared to take office after a shockingly strong victory over Jimmy Carter. Just 6 years after Watergate, Americans had turned to an outsider, someone who promised morning in America by making a massive course correction following a generation of anger, division, and bitterness. Reagan delivered on that promise. Now America has chosen again to break away from a generation of partisanship and establishment failures at home and abroad. Donald Trump returns to the White House with the clearest mandate for change from voters in more than a decade, and in many ways a change back from the fundamental transformation that Democrats pledged in 2008. And this time, Trump is clearly prepared for that transformation. His support from voters has never been higher. The Senate needs to deliver Trump's nominees to serve that mandate and give him the opportunity for a fresh start and, let's hope, a fresh start for us all. Let's hope Congress will get behind Trump to deliver what voters clearly demand. It could be morning in America again.
6:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. It's a service of Turnkey.Pro. Start the new year right with Turnkey's all-in package. Receive unlimited help desk support, firewall router, unlimited backup and recovery, and antivirus protection, plus new hardware. One low monthly investment. Visit Turnkey.Pro. That's Turnkey.Pro. Outbound on the Ike, you have a disabled vehicle left shoulder. That's outbound at Laramie. Slowing things up on I-55 is an earlier accident just now being relocated off to Lamont Road. It's inbound between Route 53 and the Veterans Memorial Toll, and delays remain. Accident on I-55 as you travel near southbound Route 59. It's on the on-ramp there. And delays in Peatone because of an accident this morning. Governor's Highway and Peatone Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A cold weather advisory in effect this morning and also again tonight. Sunshine, a few clouds, breezy and frigid today. Dress warm. High today at 12. Clear tonight with the low at 7 below zero. Sunny for tomorrow, the high only 5. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
1 below at O'Hare, 4 below Aurora, 3 below in Waukegan, 1 below in Lansing, 0 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, John Cass, JohnCassNews.com, and the Chicago Way podcast, which yours truly will be on.
Yes, when it gets up, when we put it up in the next day or so. Yeah.
Wonderful. Good chat.
Because I can never get enough of Dan Proft.
Who can, really? So if today, John and me is not enough for you, that look forward for this week's Chicago Way podcast, which is more of John and me. But what about John and me? Oh, what do you have to say about John and me? Anyway, last hour, John and I were talking about the incoming point person for border security, Tom Homan. And I mentioned he had comments on Chicago, and we didn't get to them. So let's get to them. The first thing Homan said is to all these sanctuary state and city politicians, just let us into your jails. We're focused on public safety threats. Jails is an obvious place to start. Let ICE agents into your jails. Have local law enforcement cooperate with removing anybody who has been convicted of other crimes in addition to coming here illegally, is facing pending charges. Let us get access there so that we can start to remove public safety threats, which, of course, is supported, an idea supported by a supermajority of the American population, because unlike the Democrat Socialist Party, they are not masochists. Tom Homan had this to say about Chicago amid the reports that Chicago was going to be one of the initial foci of Homan operations, but that got leaked, and so Homan is reevaluating.
We're not reconsidering any operations. There was a leak in Chicago, so we're looking at that leak and find out how does it affect offshore safety concerns. Chicago's not off the table, but we're reconsidering when and how we do it, because there was a leak.
Would it benefit you, based on your objective there, not to talk publicly so much about your plans?
Specific plans. What was leaked in Chicago was more specific, what was happening, and that raises offshore safety concerns. They already have a dangerous job. Like I say, they're going to arrest public safety threats and national security threats. Dangerous. But when those bad guys has a heads up that we're hitting you at this time, this day, no, it raises offshore safety concerns, specific operational plans. So we're looking at it. What was leaked? What's that actually in there? And how is it going to affect us moving forward?
That seems reasonable and rational. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Because you remember the relationship between Tom Homan and Brandon Johnson, the relationship between Tom Homan and J.B. Pritzker, not particularly cozy. Showdown coming between Homan and his law enforcers and BLM, Brandon, and Jelly Belly Pritzker. Remember, this was the attitude taken by BLM Brandon upon the victory by Trump and the understanding that mass deportations would be coming, starting with public safety threats, and that's exactly what we're on the cusp of starting today. Here's BLM Brandon remembering.
We're not going to bend or break or cower to someone's threat. We're going to stand up and unite around our shared values, and they have my assurance that I'm going to protect the families of this city.
And Homan's response to that?
If your Chicago mayor doesn't want to help, he can step aside. But if he impedes us, if he knowingly harbors and conceals an illegal alien, I will prosecute him.
Meaning he'll refer him for prosecution. I'm sure Pam Bondi would be more than happy to take up the case if there's evidence of
illegality.
Listen, they're running the city into the ground. They're in panic. They have no answers about anything. They would welcome a conflict.
Did you say no answers?
They have no answers to anything that they've done.
Oh, you haven't heard. They have an answer. It's called mobile farmers markets. Have you not heard about mobile?
Yeah, my Uncle Angelo was a peddler on Garfield Boulevard and used to sell produce out of a horse truck. Is that what you mean?
That's something like that. Just fast forward to the 21st century version of that.
The horse has a hat. The ears get cut through. Yeah.
We are this close. We are a few mobile farmers markets away from Chicago being the land of milk and honey. Where have you been?
This is
John,
why when people say
honestly,
Chicago, you can find any work there. That's what they mean, right?
I'll tell you, the proposal is so ridiculous. Even Laura Washington can't keep a straight face. Laura Washington, longtime journo, DePaul journo professor, all that. Right. She was on Wilmette talking to Anetka. The deep thinking that goes on there. What do you think's behind this mobile farmers market proposal? Because that's what people want to know. They're not interested in what Tom Homan has to say about people who pose public safety threats. They're not interested in a third of CPS schools being half filled. They're not interested in the test scores. They're not interested in the historic violent crime. Chicago continuing being a national leader, certainly in aggregate amount of murders, in addition to other categories of violent crimes. I think carjacking is still considered a violent crime. Anyway, Laura Washington, she even couldn't keep a straight face.
Why is this deemed necessary? Is this post-pandemic fun or
if you walked around downtown, I know you have. Yeah. State Street is a disaster. I mean, blocks of empty storefronts. People don't feel safe or comfortable going down there.
What?
The retail is dying. No one's going to the office. So this sort of group of civic leaders is trying to get together and come up with some creative, innovative strategies to bring people back to downtown.
Will a mobile farmers market bring you back to the city? Stroll around State Street, the Mag Mile, particularly when the weather gets a little bit more temperate. Take in a show, have dinner, stay late.
Nothing like staying late.
312-642-5600.
Sit in an outdoor cafe while a bunch of hooligans run past your head, run past your back.
I mean, Laura Washington, I like Laura. I've always gotten on with her. Okay.
Like her.
But I mean, she is, a dyed-in-the-wool identitarian Democrat.
Right.
And even she is unwilling to keep up appearances and do this. Oh, yeah, mobile farmers market. That's civic leaders getting together and really coming up with responses that are proportional to the problems.
Is this the idiocy come up that was sprouted from the brain of Brandon Johnson? Did he come up with this nonsense, or was it
civic leaders? He's got a team of people that came up with this.
Sergio Lopez?
All those people probably all those people that are on the board of the Civic Fed or attend a City Club luncheon.
Yeah.
All those, corporate titans, visionaries, our modern day Daniel Burnhams.
They've ruined the city.
Make no little plans, John. Mobile farmers markets. Let it wash over you.
I'm so happy to have left, but there are still good people here. And to leave them in the hands of morons who want to produce mobile farmers markets as a savior, while all of LaSalle Street is being turned into, I don't know what, housing.
Well, yeah,
housing
projects,
public housing.
Yeah, public housing projects. If you love Cabrini Green, you'll love the big plans they have for the financial district. But remember, I mean, we're all focused on BLM Brandon, but per my admonitions last week, Jelly Belly Pritzker is not only a resident of Chicago, he's also the governor. And the policy choices and the policy positions between BLM and Jelly Belly are indistinguishable. So consider that, too, when you're decrying the city from the Starbucks in Hinsdale, the state of the city, or from the Hemingway's in Oak Park. Consider that too.
I'll have a croissant, please.
Yeah, right. Okay, and where's the Chicago Press Corps on this? Well, you just heard they're probing the mobile farmers markets and whether that'll be a game changer. That's important. And they're also platforming barely couched anti-Catholic bigotry on the pages, the editorial pages of John's former employer, the Chicago Tribune.
When I worked at the Tribune for 40 years, there were standards there. You could not, you would not come with a piece like this unless you were suicidal, if you wanted to kill your career. Now it's celebrated.
The piece that John is talking about is a piece by some crank named Peter Schwartz. Will the influence of Catholic natural law, quote unquote, on Trump officials make America medieval? It's not just Antonin Scalia anymore. There are other conservative Catholics now who have ascended to powerful positions within the government, and this is going to bring us back to the Middle Ages, potentially, argues Peter Schwartz. The kind of piece, if you've read it, that if you focused on the members of a different religion in a presidential administration in the way that Peter Schwartz focused on Catholics, you would be canceled immediately.
If you wrote it about, to be more specific, if you wrote it about Islam, you would be done. If you wrote it about Judaism, you would be finished. But you can do it to Christians and mock them and defile them and produce hatred against them in the pages of the Chicago Tribune. And that what gets me is that alone, that you can do that in a newspaper that once had standards. I mean, it's garbage. And it was, see, the Chicago Tribune, I know you know this, Dan, but after the Great Chicago Fire, Chicago was rebuilt, in part because of the philanthropy of the Irish Catholics in Chicago. And part of that was about the institutions that protected such thinking, like the Chicago Tribune, which was clearly an anti-Irish Catholic publication many years ago, but in the last 50 years became, because of the people that were there, something of a foundation.
Well, you know, look,
John Madigan, I mean, all good people.
Yeah, I mean, nobody has to subscribe to Catholicism, and Catholicism and/or the Catholic Church are certainly not above scrutiny and criticism. So that's not the point. The point is the quality here.
Stupidity.
A piece like this, you know, the idea of the editorial page is to present thinkers who challenge understandings, provide different perspectives that advance the conversation, at least if you want to build a community around intelligent content that that moves the conversation in a productive direction. But that's not this. Let me give you an example. Let's talk specifically about what we're referencing generally. Natural law has been the foundation for Catholic right-wingers' assault upon Enlightenment liberalism. It's the basis of their post-liberal vision for the future, which is largely about restoring the natural order of things on behalf of the common good. Following the elevation of J.D. Vance, a Catholic convert and zealot, to co-pilot the Trump presidency, everyone is now coming out of the Catholic closet, where in truth they'd never been hiding. The scary Catholics have been unleashed, much like the FBI. This individual very concerned about conservative Catholics who, you know, may even be found attending Latin Mass. He goes through not only Vance, but White House incoming spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt. Members of the Supreme Court, like Alito. He goes on to say Catholic natural law fantasies about the proper ordering of sexuality, reproductive rights, gender roles, the natural family, religious freedom now command the heights of American law and politics. What's important here is not the high percentage of Trump loyalists, is not that a high percentage of Trump loyalists practice and worship as Catholics in their private lives. It's that their cultural and intellectual foundations of their illiberal, authoritarian political commitments emerge from reactionary Catholic traditions dating back 800 years. The Republican creed is MAGA, Make America Great Again. The more appropriate creed would be MAMA, Make America Medieval Again.
And this is on the pages of the Chicago Tribune. The fact that there's an editor there, right? Is his name Pugh or something like that, right? There is an editor. They do have editors. I remember they had great editors once. Jack Fuller, Bruce Dold, John McCormick, people who stood for something.
Well. Again, come at Catholicism or the Catholic Church, however you want.
Yeah.
But I remember when I would occasionally submit a column to the Tribune and occasionally getting it published. Like if I made claims, I had to substantiate the veracity of those claims. I also had to have the pulse of cogency run through my piece in order to get it published. Well, that seems to be by the boards here because there is none of those things in this piece. And this is why, as I tweeted out in response to this piece, because those days are over, so are the Tribunes. I mean, it's becoming it's irrelevant. You say, well, you're talking about it, so how irrelevant can it be? Not talking about it in terms of its relevance. I'm talking about it almost as an anthropologist in explaining the death of the daily newspapers. This is another many examples. Exactly. This is another example of how you pollute your editorial pages with this sort of dreck. By the way, this has nothing to do with Catholicism. The argument is specious from its premises. I mean, it's so easily refutable. His characterizations of both Catholicism as a faith tradition, his characterization of natural law, his characterization of American history.
It's embarrassing.
By the way, natural law informed the founding documents. I mean, just one basic argument that most of our listeners will appreciate. Natural law was the foundation of our foundational documents. And those foundational documents, like the Declaration and the Constitution, were not penned by Catholics. They were deists and Protestants. The idea that natural law, a belief in natural law, is somehow reserved for those who identify as Catholics. I mean, the Declaration of Independence appeals with the laws of nature and of nature's God. The Ninth Amendment protects natural rights that are not explicitly mentioned in the Constitution. This is apparently of news to both Peter Schwartz and the editorial board of the Chicago Tribune.
Pearls before swine. They will not understand what you're saying because they have not the capacity to formulate the ideas that are necessary. That's it. The Chicago Tribune is finished. I mean, I knew it years ago, and I reluctantly left. You were there with me when I left, and other people were there. The listeners of The Morning Answer were with me, and that's when we started John Cass News, because we needed an alternative to this nonsense. But this, you're right. It's like being an anthropologist, like looking at some ancient king like Osmandius. My name is Osmandius, King of Kings. Look upon my works, ye mighty, in despair.
I mean, it literally this Peter Schwartz guy talking about Enlightenment values.
Yeah.
You have neo-Luddites at the Tribune cloaking themselves in Enlightenment values. I mean, this is a good example of the oxymoronic nature of the new Marxists across the board, from D.C. to the Chicago Tribune ed board.
Like apes in a velvet suit.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Make your IT thrive in 2025. Turnkey, the local leader in small business IT services, is offering their all-in package pricing for 2025. With the all-in package, your business receives unlimited help desk support, firewall router, unlimited backup and recovery, and antivirus protection for one low monthly investment. Plus, all-in customers enjoy new hardware every 4 years. So start the new year off right by replacing all your equipment with new hardware from Turnkey and enjoy all-in IT services for one low monthly payment. For 3 decades, Turnkey has been the backbone of local companies. They're the champion of small business. Let them focus on the IT while you focus on the big stuff. For IT services from world-class technicians who care, now's the time to go all in with Turnkey. Ask for the all-in package. Visit turnkey.pro today. Quality IT is a call away. That's turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 6:36, we will take up the matter of banning or not to ban TikTok. Take your calls as well. 312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line. Now we turn it over to Mike Scott for the headlines.
2 below zero at 6:32, and we have breaking word from the White House at this hour. Lame duck President Joe Biden has apparently pardoned Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, and members of the January 6th committee. That, according to White House insiders, confirmed by Fox News and other sources this morning. It is a last-second, extraordinary misuse of presidential power, according to some presidential experts. Donald Trump will be sworn in today as the 47th President of the United States.
Tomorrow at noon, the curtain closes on 4 long years of American decline, and we begin a brand new day of American strength and prosperity, dignity and pride.
Trump rallying supporters on stage at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. yesterday before taking the oath of office today. Donald Trump is scheduled to be sworn in around 10:45 a.m., and you can join AM 560 as we bring you all of the very latest from Washington, D.C. this morning. From our news partner, Fox News, our coverage begins at 10 a.m. President-elect Donald Trump set to sign multiple executive orders just hours after being sworn into office. Wall Street Journal indicating that Donald Trump plans to declare a national border emergency. We're hearing word from the state of Ohio this morning that Vivek Ramaswamy will leave the Department of Government Efficiency. CBS News is confirming Ramaswamy, who was President-elect Trump's choice to co-lead that DOJ task force, will leave and announce a campaign for Ohio governor as soon as the last week of January. President-elect Trump's incoming national security advisor is crediting him with partially securing a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. Mike Waltz was on CNN's State of the Union.
Had President Trump not been elected, this deal was stuck. It was dead in the water.
Dozens of Palestinian prisoners have been freed by Israel after 3 hostages left Hamas captivity. Coming up in the business week today, it's a stock market holiday. Today, equities and bond markets closed in observance of ML King Jr. Day. And bitterly cold weather hitting the Chicago area today. By the end of this day, wind chills could dip as low as 25 below. Dr. William Weber is with Rush University Medical Center.
The biggest thing you can do is just try to get indoors. So get to a normal temperature where your body can warm up. If you don't have shelter, you can always call 311. Chicago has warming centers.
Cook County Sheriff's Office has confirmed that a deputy was killed by stray gunfire while on vacation in Turks and Caicos over the weekend. Shimon Duncan was a 20-year veteran of the county's Department of Corrections. 3 are dead following a fiery car crash in Glenview. The accident happened yesterday at Westlake and Finkston Road. Judge John Robert Blanky is scheduled to review jury instructions with attorneys tomorrow. The federal corruption trial of former Illinois House Speaker, Democrat Michael Madigan. Bulls fade in a loss to Portland, 113-102. They visit the Clippers tonight. Blackhawks will host Carolina. College hoops Fighting Illini, a Sunday loss to number 12 Michigan State, 80-78. And Northwestern falls in overtime to number 19 Michigan at Chrysler Arena, 80-76. The news, a service of Quick Delivery Service, ground delivery when you need it from safe, licensed professionals. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash. Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you'll destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with Rick Hughes this Sunday morning at 7. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul built on God's Word. Listen this Sunday for inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes this Sunday morning at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combines heritage and innovation in every cup. Our coffee is locally roasted, hot air roasted, and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Whether you prefer a 12-ounce bag or a 28-ounce bag, or even the convenience of K-Cups, you'll find Papa Nicholas Coffee at your local retailer. Taste the difference that 5 generations of expertise brings. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee, because great coffee is our family tradition. Visit online at papanicholas.com. That's papanicholas.com.
Family life is a crazy adventure filled with love and laughter, but it can also be demanding with work schedules, after-school activities, and trying to remember where you put your keys. It leaves you wondering, where does the time go? With so much going on, it can be easy to lose sight of your family's well-being. Balance of Nature fruits and veggies supplements offer an easy way to get a wide variety of whole food ingredients for your whole family. Don't let a busy schedule get in the way of your family's well-being. Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
640 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Audible. Take along Audible audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Tap into your well-being with insight and expert advice. You can sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com. Inbound Kennedy, you're jammed up this morning. Disabled semi right lane block just before Diversey. Inbound on the Ike, an accident right shoulder. Inbound just before the Tri-State. Solid traffic on the Tri-State. Bad accident, 2 left lanes blocked. It's on the southbound side at 31st. You're backed up to Cermak this morning. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Frigid, breezy this afternoon, and that will push our wind chills into the negative double digits, 10 to 15 below, high 11 above. Clear and frigid, a low of 7 below overnight. 2 below, clear skies at O'Hare, 0 at Midway, 3 below in Aurora, and right now 0 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by TJ Stearns Financial Planning. Certified financial planner Tim Stearns holds a weekly discussion of the financial challenges to secure retirement. Listen Saturday at noon for Protect and Grow with Tim Stearns.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning is John Cass News, he of johncassnews.com, and wanted to talk about to ban or not ban TikTok, and we will, certainly with John Tammany at the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour. However, this breaking news that you heard from Mike Scott in his newscast, we must address because, as largely anticipated, waiting for this shoe to drop, well, it dropped. Not completely, though. The big guy pardoning Anthony Fauci, retired General Joint Chiefs of Staff General Mark Milley, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Mark Milley, and both members and staff of the J6 committee, so that would mean like Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger. So the preemptive pardons that concerned us, that we talked last week to law professor Richard Epstein about, they happened. Interestingly, no more Biden family members on the list for preemptive pardons. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line, how should the Trump administration respond to these unprecedented preemptory pardons? And not to mention the blanket pardon of Hunter Biden, but the preemptory pardons, how should the Trump administration respond, John Cass?
Throw them all in jail.
Throw who in jail?
The J6 committee, take an extra box of Kleenex for Adam Kinzinger because he is wont to cry, and let him sit there and contemplating forever his shame. Well, he's a shameful person, and I want Kash Patel. We talked about this for the podcast. There was a famous dog, and I love dogs. There was a famous dog named Tiny the Terrier in England in 1850, and a tavern in London. And Tiny killed 200 rats in 1 hour. And he was a little tiny dog. But he did it with one bite and a shake of his head would break their backs and then on to the next. That's what has to be done for these people.
You want
I want them
a
to
human version of Tiny.
I think there is one
metaphorically
named Kash Patel.
Well, but you can't put the J6 committee members in prison because they just got preemptively pardoned.
Yes, I know. That's why I'm not a constitutional scholar nor a lawyer.
Yeah.
I would just have them jailed, but
okay, Lavrenti Beria.
If you show me the Biden and I'll show you the crime.
Yes, exactly.
But if you give Biden or anyone close to him any kind of remuneration or consideration and exchange a pardon, is that illegal? Because that's what I want investigated. And if it's not illegal, I want it investigated thoroughly to create as much havoc and fear in this community of vipers as possible. Thank you very much.
Well, I have a response in terms of what I think the Trump administration should do,
Sure,
but
it'll be legal and judicious and sober.
Well, we'll try.
I want revenge.
We'll try. All right, John is out for blood. John is Gary Oldman in The Professional. He wants to kill everybody. So 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. What should be the Trump administration response to these unprecedented preemptive pardons? Jordan and Antioch, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, John. Good morning, Dan. Okay, we kind of knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't prosecute, right? You can't. Well, first off, I think they should do something where look into the legality of it and what the extent of it is and what they can do. But in the end, you still investigate, and they can't be tried, right? They can't be found. So you lay it all out, and you spend the next year putting out every single rotten, illegal, underhanded thing that they've done, and completely expose every single one of them to the public. And just massacre them in the eye of the public. You put it out there and you let them see what these people. All the questions can be answered now, right? You can go after Fauci. You can prove he was a liar. You can prove what he did was illegally. Same with the J6 committee. Same with everybody else. And you just lay it out for the public now. There's nothing to hide. You don't have to worry about lying under oath. You don't have to worry about any of that. You just lay waste to them in the public eye, in the public arena, and let the people see exactly what was done to them.
Thanks for the call, Jordan. Well, there's a couple things there. First,
the Constitution or something like that?
Well, let's just we're talking about Tony Fauci, Mark Milley, and the J6 committee members.
Okay.
So Tony Fauci has exposure for lying under oath. Rand Paul has made this case very strongly publicly for several years now. General Milley has exposure for potentially lying under oath, also at minimum violating the Logan Act, because of his consorting with Chinese communists. And, of course, the J6 committee, specifically Liz Cheney, perhaps other members, perhaps staff, have exposure for potentially
perjury.
Well, tampering with witnesses.
Yes.
Cassidy Hutchinson. So let's just talk about sort of what the concerns are, the legal concerns that these individuals who were preemptively pardoned would have. And then you're right, what Jordan said, we need to, and we don't have it yet, but we need to really look at the language of the pardons to see how expansive they are and if there may still be exposure. So that's number one. Number two, the idea of investigating them anyway and putting out everything that has not been publicly disclosed into the public domain, I agree with, but you can't do it through the Department of Justice. Because as we know, the Department of Justice, the FBI, they don't do civil investigations. By the very nature of the agencies, they do criminal investigations. So you can't legitimately do a criminal investigation when there's no basis to believe in the prospect of a criminal prosecution. There's no potential criminal wrongdoing here because of these pardons. But so you need to use the right tool for the right job. But that doesn't mean you can't have op research people and civilian people do essentially the same quality of investigation and get access to the same information through freedom of information requests that are actually honored and so forth to fill in the picture. on all of these individuals and many more. So I agree with Jordan on that. I just, may want to make the point you can't use DOJ or FBI. And then the other thing I would say, well, I'll wait in terms of what I think the response from the administration should be in addition to what I just said. See if anybody else steals my thunder. Neil in LaGrange.
Hi, Dan. Hey, John. Now that they're pardoned, they can't hide behind the Fifth Amendment protection, can they?
They kind of sort of can.
Right.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Neil. I mean, because we talked about this previously with the prospect that this could happen. They could, you have no, Hunter Biden, for example, to make a case everybody's familiar with, you have no concern about exposure for your various crimes. So now you can tell us the truth. You can answer these questions. You can't hide behind the Fifth Amendment. But they can say, well, if I answer that question, I still have a reasonable fear of incriminating myself because I think my answer could implicate criminal activity not covered by the pardon. So, it's still going to be a gooey thing in terms of being able to plead the Fifth, I would say. Not to mention, you can always do the I have no recollection of those events, Senator routine.
Typical.
To avoid answering any questions that you don't want to answer. Greg in Schaumburg.
Dan, welcome back. And John, I'm proud of you for driving in from Indiana on a day like today.
Hey, Greg.
Okay, my view is that they ought to turn the page, just go forward in the future. And that includes, really regrettably, all of the Biden family members that apparently aren't pardoned that did receive all the money from China. That is just undeniable corruption. But we need to focus on where we're going in the future because I feel that we're going to have a global economic problem very, very soon. And we need everybody on the front page of where we're going in the future. Thanks.
Thanks for the call, Greg.
Greg, but what happened to all those Gregisms of the past? For years, I've been hearing you on this show talk about redemption and forgiveness, and redemption cannot be granted without forgiveness. And now what?
Without contrition.
Without contrition. And now what?
Well, here's the thing. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. For example, Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are going to have little to do with economic policy. Right?
Yes, I hope so.
So that's number one. Number two, lamenting that Jim Biden and that hillbilly crime family got away with the money, the ill-gotten gains, for selling out America and America's national security interests for personal gain. Well, Jim Comer, I say again, recommended publicly, end of last week, that James Biden, the big guy's brother, be prosecuted. And he thinks he's got the goods. Per the work the Oversight Committee did over the last couple of years. Well, if I'm Pam Bondi, I pick that up and I run with it and see where it leads. And if it leads to the big guy and any other Biden family member that took money, ill-gotten beneficiaries of ill-gotten gains, knowingly.
And we know there were many of them.
And
right?
I go back and I talk to all these former Biden business partners like Tony Bobolinsky and others, Devin Archer. And if I think I have a case of criminal violations against Jim Biden and every other Biden family member, then I prosecute that case. If I can't get Liz Cheney for witness tampering, but I can get Cassidy Hutchinson for lying under oath, then I prosecute Cassidy Hutchinson. Now that I know there was the potential of witness tampering, that Liz Cheney and other members of that J6 committee and perhaps staff attempted to suborn perjury or did suborn perjury, that's the allegation. If there's evidence to support that claim and Cassidy Hutchinson was in on it, then I prosecute her. I hold the people accountable that I can under the law with a good faith basis to look at these individuals. That's what I would do if I were AG or FBI director. Mark in Greenville.
Hey, Dan and John, how are you?
Good.
Hey,
we forgot. You absolutely do not let these guys go. There is no contrition. And with a guy like Anthony Fauci, why can't a guy like or a governor like Ron DeSantis bring charges against him? There's been investigations in Florida about all this sham with the vaccine and all the other underlining stuff. There should be ample evidence for a governor like Ron DeSantis and maybe other governors to pile on and prosecute him.
Well, thanks for the call, Mark. I mean, I'm certainly open to state level charges against anybody so long as there's a good faith basis to investigate some potential violation of state law wherever it may have occurred. I don't know that an obvious play against Fauci or the others clearly comes to mind. But if there's something I'm missing that Ron DeSantis isn't, okay, I'm game. Chris in Joliet.
Hi. I think those with law licenses should be disbarred. Dr. Fauci should certainly lose his license to practice medicine. And any of them that are still in office should be, either impeached or at the very least censured for their conduct in the J6 hearings.
Thanks for the call, Chris. Jerry in Milwaukee.
Yeah, good morning, Dan. Just by pardoning these guys, Biden is simply affirming that they're all guilty of corruption and lying, and anybody with a speck of a brain will realize that and know that these people are just scum.
Thanks for the call, Jerry.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jim Durkin, founding partner of the Martech Group, a global market research firm based in Chicago since 1985 and a longtime customer of Signature Bank. When our business moved to our current Loop location, I recall seeing Mick O'Rourke and his two business partners, Brian Duncan and Kevin Bastuga, laying the foundation for Signature Bank. When Signature opened its doors in 2006, I was proud to move our accounts there and become a shareholder. Being in the consulting business, the Martech Group has a keen understanding of the value of relationships, trust, and attentiveness. Whether dealing with our U.S. practice or our international operations, Signature Bank is always there when we need them. That's why the Martech Group is proud to have Signature Bank as a valued business partner.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Feeling the aches and pains of everyday life slowing you down? Introducing Blue Emu, America's #1 emu oil formula for pain relief. In a recent clinical trial, 91% of users saw improvement after using Blue Emu. Whether you're working hard, playing harder, or just staying active, Blue Emu penetrates deep to relieve joint and muscle pain fast. And best of all, you won't stink. Join the 91% who felt the difference. Find Blue Emu at your local retailer or online. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
Raj Shah, host of Unleash Your Wealth.
You know, there are a lot of clients and people coming in from the radio into our office saying, I don't want to lose any money. I need to protect the money I have saved over the last 20 or 30 years, where you have strategies where you can structure an income stream where it has an inflation protection so that as inflation, if it continues to go up, your income will go up.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 7:07, we'll talk about acquiring Greenland, and also the beginning of the hostage exchange for terrorists in the Middle East. We'll talk about it all with Stephen Bucci at 7:07. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Bitterly cold temperatures slamming the Chicago area. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. President Biden issues more pardons hours before he leaves office. I'm Dave Anthony.
What he's doing right now is most of us as Americans find disgusting.
Republican Senator Tim Scott reacting on Fox to the new Biden pardons. He already set a presidential record with pardons and commutations for thousands, including his son Hunter Biden, and now
President Joe Biden is now issuing preemptive pardons for former Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley, former COVID point man Dr. Anthony Fauci, and the members of the House Select Committee on the January 6th riot, which would include the likes of former Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney. President Biden, in a press release, says he did this to prevent a politicized prosecution.
That's Fox's Evan Brown. It could make for awkward conversation when President Biden and President-elect Trump get together next hour at a tea and coffee White House reception. The president-elect has suggested he could pardon some of his supporters convicted for their roles in the 2021 Capitol riot. Just one of the many things on the Trump to-do list.
You're going to see executive orders that are going to make you extremely happy, lots of them.
President-elect Trump at a pre-inauguration rally last night.
Every radical and foolish executive order of the Biden administration will be repealed within hours of when I take the oath of office.
Our 45th president will become our 47th in about 4 hours. In his inaugural address, he'll call for a revolution of common sense, saying we'll enter a thrilling new era of national success with a tide of change. The Trump return comes a day after the ceasefire went into effect in Gaza, and Hamas released 3 hostages who've been reunited with their families in Israel, while 90 Palestinian prisoners were also set free.
People gathered around buses that were escorted by the Red Cross and waved Hamas flags while chanting. The region will now wait 6 days until the next exchange of hostages for prisoners, at which point an additional 4 people are expected to be released from Gaza.
Fox's Trey Yingst. America's listening to Fox News.
2 below zero. At 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A number of Illinois Democrats will skip out on President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration today. The Sun-Times reporting Representatives Robin Kelly, Chuy Garcia, Mike Quigley, Raja Krishnamurthy, and others will not be in attendance. Several Democrats will be, including Lauren Underwood and Bill Foster, along with U.S. Senator Dick Durbin. Illinois Republicans are hoping for some positive change for the state and the city of Chicago. After Donald Trump's inauguration, Southside Pastor Corey Brooks is in the nation's capital in support of Donald Trump.
Regardless of who the president is, as an American, we all need to be supportive and praying for the success of our president.
President-elect Trump is just hours away from being sworn in. An inauguration you can hear right here on AM 560 beginning at 10. Local Catholic priests are worried about some area residents being deported. Among them, priest Larry Dowling gathered with local residents at a mass yesterday.
It is really important to be present, to let people know not only that we're praying with them, but we'll be there, wherever we can to support them.
On a pilgrimage in Mexico City, Chicago Archbishop Blaise Supage made these comments.
If the reports are true, it should be known that we would oppose any plan that includes a mass deportation of U.S. citizens born of undocumented parents.
Some plans may be curtailed after weekend leaks of plans. In other news, we're following this morning, a Cook County Sheriff's deputy was killed by stray gunfire while on vacation in Turks and Caicos. Shimon Duncan was a 20-year veteran of the Department of Corrections. An elderly Lombard man who is charged with killing his wife will remain behind bars. Charles Winter appeared in court over the weekend on 2 counts of first-degree murder. Former White Sox manager Jeff Torborg is dead at the age of 83. Torborg spent 10 seasons as a catcher in the Bigs before becoming manager. He led the Southsiders from 1989 to 1991 and led them to a 94-68 record in 1990. Chicago sports, Bulls lost to the Trailblazers 113-102. They visit the Clippers tonight. The Blackhawks host Carolina tonight. College hoops, Fighting Illini dropped 2 of 3 after a loss to a very tough number 12 Michigan State team in East Lansing, 80-78. It took overtime for number 19 Michigan to beat Northwestern, 80-76 at Chrysler Arena. The news service of Turnkey.pro. Start the new year right with Turnkey's all-in package. Receive unlimited help desk support, unlimited backup and recovery, and antivirus protection. Plus, new hardware for one low monthly investment. Visit Turnkey.pro. That's Turnkey.pro. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Hugh Hewitt doesn't see anyone taking responsibility.
So I am mad at government. Government failed comprehensively, and every day brings a new feature of the failure from the top to the bottom, and we still do not have one resignation. Not one person has said, I screwed up. I resigned. Just say a prayer for the city of angels, because it needs all of the angels to come back.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
When a woman experiences an unplanned pregnancy, she often feels alone and afraid. So many times her first response is to seek out an abortion. But because of the generosity of listeners like you, that search may lead her to a preborn network clinic where she'll choose life, not just for her baby, but for herself. Preborn offers God's love and compassion to hurting women and then provides a free ultrasound to introduce them to the life growing inside them. This combination brings the ultimate miracle of life to life, which is why Preborn saves 200 babies every single day.
That changed my life. Just from that ultrasound picture, I'm going to keep my baby, and I'm going to keep growing, and I'm going to be a great mom.
Your tax-deductible donation of $28 sponsors one ultrasound. And now through a match, your gift is doubled, saving twice as many babies. How many babies can you save? Please donate. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword baby. Pound 250, keyword baby, or go to preborn.com/Beck. Preborn.com/Beck. Sponsored by Preborn.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements. Changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time it's the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
7:08. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Low T Center. If you're not feeling that same energy anymore, testosterone therapy or TRT may be the answer. Look for personalized treatments like you'll get with the TRT experts at Low T Center. With a decade of experience, go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment, lowtcenter.com. On the Kennedy, they're clearing a disabled semi off the right shoulder inbound at Diversey. Bishop Ford, disabled vehicle on the exit ramp. It's on the outbound side on the off-ramp to Dalton Avenue. Metro Rock Island trains are delayed due to cold weather signal problems outbound at Gresham. Same story on the Metro Electric South Chicago branch inbound near 47th. Wire problems also causing problems there. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A cold weather advisory in effect this morning and then again tonight. Sunshine, few clouds, frigid and breezy today. High this afternoon at 12. Clear, frigid night tonight, low -7. And then sunny, frigid day tomorrow, the high only 5. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
0 at Midway, 3 below in Aurora, 3 below in Waukegan. Right now, 2 below in Romeoville, 2 below at O'Hare. And your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, John Cass, johncassnews.com is the website that you want to subscribe to if you don't already.
I expect you to, and anyone listening, I will find you if you don't.
Wow. That is an interesting marketing approach. Yeah. Nothing threatening your prospective
I don't
customers.
want to threaten. I want to be direct.
Right. It's very direct. Okay.
I'm not going to do that.
President Xi Cass. Let's since we didn't get to TikTok yet because of this breaking news about Biden's preemptive pardons. Let's talk a little bit about that as we prepare to welcome our guest Stephen Bucci.
Our addiction to the spy agency. Yeah.
Well, we had some development, of course, over the weekend. First, the Supreme Court upheld the law banning TikTok if it does not divest from ByteDance and sell off to an American consortium. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank says he's put together a group that's willing to pay $20 billion for American TikTok. And they're resistant, ByteDance is, unsurprisingly. So that's one thing. And then Trump, upon TikTok going dark on Sunday, said, hold the phone. I'm going to sign an executive order upon taking office today that gives TikTok another 90 days to comply with the law. Well, actually, I mean, based on the law, he doesn't really have a basis to provide this delay, as Mike Gallagher, former Republican congresswoman from Wisconsin, who also headed up that special select committee on the Chinese Communist Party, explained over the weekend.
Well, really, there's two threats. Having your foremost geopolitical adversary control what is becoming the dominant news platform for young Americans raises the threat of espionage. The platform could be used to spy on 170 million Americans, and also it could be used as a propaganda platform. Therefore, all we're saying is divest, change the ownership structure, and people can continue to use the app. And the only reason we're here today is because TikTok spent the last 270 days trying to not comply with the law, suing the government so that they didn't have to comply with the law, lobbying against the law, and ultimately losing. If they were a normal market actor, they would have taken the tens of billions of dollars that any number of people are willing to offer them. But of course, it proves they are not a normal market actor. This is a weapon in the hands of Xi Jinping designed to weaken America, and only changing the ownership structure will fix that. As for an extension, there is no extension. Let me tell you, as the person who wrote the bill, the extension was for within the 270-day window, which closed at 12:01 a.m. this morning. And in order to get an extension, the president has to certify there are legally binding documents enabling the execution of a qualified divestiture, which, of course, there isn't. And indeed, TikTok, no less than 10 days ago, was at the Supreme Court saying that a divestiture is impossible. So again, TikTok has only themselves to blame. It is time to make a deal that results in a qualified divestiture.
Well, I mean, I think Mike Gallagher's description is actually pretty accurate, but that doesn't mean that Trump's executive order won't win the day and that TikTok won't be provided another 90 days of forbearance.
Can a nation that is addicted to a foreign intelligence operation to plumb their minds, their souls, can that nation survive? I don't.
Right.
I mean, because that's what we're being confronted with right now.
We need to confine our addictions to misinformation campaigns to those that are conducted domestically on Facebook and Google and Instagram. And sure, I understand. Okay. Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades as an Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official, now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's always my pleasure to be on the show, and I appreciate you guys taking on this. This is a tough subject that a lot of Americans are wrestling with right now.
Well, right, and it's making for strange bedfellows like Tom Cotton and Dick Blumenthal. Maybe Tom Cotton wants to reflect upon his agreement with Dick Blumenthal on much of anything, but the Supreme Court has weighed in. The president has weighed in. There seems to be general, with perhaps the exception of Rand Paul, there seems to be general consensus around the idea that we don't want to ban TikTok, but we do want to see TikTok in the hands of someone other than the Chinese Communist Party, and we're willing to maybe bend the letter of the law a little bit in order to provide more time for that to happen.
Yeah, I think that's totally what we're looking at. You know, President Trump is looking at the millions and millions of Americans who are addicted to TikTok, particularly those who use it for business means. And he doesn't want to screw all those American businesses and alienate them all. I can understand that, but you still have to weigh that against the national security concerns. This is the most over-the-top egregious intel operation that any of us have ever seen. I remember back a while ago, I think it was either Babylon Bee or The Onion, one of the other parody sites that talked about the CIA saying, you know, this whole Facebook thing has been a great operation for us. We gather all this data. We tried another one. It was called Twitter, but that one, the stuff was just so useless we couldn't, make any head nor hair of it. But it turns out it's not a joke. Intel services build sites that addict people, that provide people with, not just misinformation defined as, well, I disagree with that, so right. I don't believe it's true, that domestic part of it. But this is stuff that's designed to lead Americans astray. And, we're giving it permission to stay open and keep getting its tentacles out further. Because I got to tell you, even with the divestiture, we're not going to clear out all of the Chinese, tentacles that are in there. It's just not going to happen.
Well,
they're hiding that stuff.
Yeah, but let me just jump in here and play a bit of devil's advocate. The propaganda piece. We're going to lead Americans astray. Astray to do what? Is this like Manchurian candidate stuff? People are going to be programmed to assassinate political leaders? What does that mean exactly? Where they're going to have a different understanding of Tiananmen Square? They're going to volunteer to be at service to the Chinese Communist Party? What does that exactly mean? What is the fear?
Potentially all of the above. I'd say an example now is the number of crazy American students that have gone to their college campuses and protests in favor of Hamas, who are, egregiously bad, evil, animal kind of terrorists. But they look at all of the stuff that's out there, and look, don't get me wrong, some of this stuff is on other news sites too, like MSNBC. But there, it's just misguided Americans doing it, not some foreign intelligence service that's curating what comes to the fore, what pops up on your device. That is not insignificant, guys. That can cause people to vote differently. It can cause people to make decisions about what companies they go to and what they don't. That's not something you just ignore. And that's the problem is, a lot of Americans are going, you know what? This is not that big a deal. We can handle this. it'll be fine. And I'm not ready to quite roll the dice for that.
100% agree with you. If you're given the opportunity to run an intelligence operation against the United States, this one is the perfect one, isn't it? You've got all these kids clamoring for it, crying hysterically that they may lose it. I mean, that's perfect. No?
Yeah, it gives you a vehicle that you can feed people a lot of crap, and crap that they want us to have. And that's not, I just don't see how it's wise to hand that to an enemy or anybody else. I don't want our government doing that to us. I darn sure don't want a foreign government doing that to us.
I wanted to get to a couple other topics. Greenland, since Trump announced his intent to acquire said Danish territory, the PM Mute Egid, is that Egid? I don't know. I think that's right, but I'm still familiarizing myself with the power structure of Greenland. He talked about Greenlandic and Danish relations as obstacles to cooperation with the United States, shackles of the colonial era. They had that joint press conference where they both Greenland and Denmark, heads of state, said the status quo isn't an option. There's Axios is reporting that the Danes have been sending private messages to the Trump administration expressing willingness to discuss boosting security in Greenland or increasing the U.S. military presence on the island. So, what's your handle on what is the best case scenario for the United States with respect to Greenland now that Trump has sort of forced open these conversations and considerations?
I don't have any evidence that President Trump really honestly wants to, annex Greenland. It's a big piece of territory that you can't do much with other than it's a really large stationary aircraft carrier that you can use to help monitor what goes on in the Arctic Circle. And I think this is another, very Trumpian move to get an ally to behave better, to cooperate more, to allow more access for us, to do more themselves to protect those areas that their territory borders upon. If they want to give us Greenland, I'm sure President Trump would be happy to take it. But, I don't think that's probably going to happen. I think hopefully we'll see Denmark and all of NATO pony up more to protect the Arctic, which is a big area of conflict right now with both Russia and the Chinese, interestingly enough. I think that's what's going on. I think likewise with Panama, does Trump want us to take over the Panama Canal? I think it would probably be his preference, but hopefully we can get the Chinese out of Panama, and that would probably be acceptable. So this is the classic. You ask for 150 because you really want 100, and we'll see where we go.
The Middle East. So this ceasefire deal that was cut began to be executed over the weekend with 3 Israeli hostages being released. So the whole first phase of 33 hostages held by Hamas, 3 of whom are Americans. I guess 2 in the first phase, and then the 3rd in the second phase. Is this a good deal for the United States and for Israel and for stability in the Middle East, or did the Trump administration rush this when they shouldn't have?
I don't think we should try and make any deal with Hamas. I don't think Hamas is capable of really making a deal and then abiding by it. They're just horrific people. However, I'm not an Israeli prime minister, and the Israelis have a long history of giving extraordinary numbers of bad guys, convicted killers, back to these characters for 1, 2, 3, 4, in this case, a couple of dozen of their citizens. That is their way of dealing with these people. I don't think that's going to restrict Bibi Netanyahu from going in and hammering these guys some more as soon as they step out of line, because we all know Hamas will. They're not going to abide by this deal. We may get a few hostages out, which is a good thing, and we'll get some of these people released. Hopefully, we've issued them their pagers already, and we could activate those when necessary. But look, this is another sovereign nation that we're dealing with. We have all been, saying, please, Netanyahu, stop listening to the American government. They're giving you a bad, juju on this. Okay, now that government's gone. Trump did have people at this negotiation. So I think that's what actually caused Hamas to say, okay, let's do this deal and let some of these people go, because they don't know what Trump's going to do. But this was really an Israeli-designed proposal, and it's a classic Israeli one. Yeah, we'll give you a couple of hundred of these mokes we don't care about. They're animals anyway. We don't need to feed them anymore. You take them back, but we'll get 1 or 2 of our people back. So we'll have to see where it goes. But I don't think any of those IDF forces in the region have unloaded their magazines. I think they are all locked and loaded, ready to go. As soon as some idiot in Hamas starts shooting more rockets, they're going to come in, and this thing's going to go away, and they're going to just hammer them, because now they'll have an administration in Washington that isn't going to wag their finger at them. They'll say, okay, well, we gave it a shot. Go for it. Take them out.
Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades as Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official, now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Have a great week, guys. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you. Stephen Bucci joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other. And if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Guys, it's New Year and time to keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. Don't put it off. Get tested in January. If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back right there. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, for each patient. Their personal treatment plans are optimized for each patient. They're not just basic standard treatments. And for current patients, Low T Center offers you 150 referral credit for each new patient you refer. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So get back to your best. Visit lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. Again, that's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king-size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
Are you heading into the new year with that same old joint pain? Get moving again in 2025 with help from our very good friends at QC Kinetics. You know, everybody's doing it, including Joe Rogan, who recently mentioned his positive results from regenerative medicine on his podcast. Revitalize your joints with advanced orthobiologic treatments at QC Kinetics. No steroids, no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. This is the future of medicine using an array of natural solutions like PRP to attack the pain from arthritis. Want to learn more about how you can refresh your joints, get lasting relief with these amazing treatments? Call QC Kinetics. The consultation is free with Saturday appointments available. Deal with that joint pain now so you can make the most of the new year. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
There is a place in northern Illinois that people have come from all around the globe seeking treasure.
It's amazing. I didn't know what to expect, but when I got there, I was surrounded by all kinds of gold and silver.
An actual place where you're surrounded by treasure?
I've known that gold and silver were a good investment, but I really didn't want to buy it through the mail. At Fox Valley Coins, I basically walked in, picked out what I wanted, paid cash, and walked out with gold and silver.
Walk in with paper and walk out with actual gold and silver bars. For decades, Fox Valley Coins has traded paper dollars for actual gold and silver. They buy and sell. The treasure map is available at foxvalleycoins.com. They are on Route 59, 1 light north of I-88 in Naperville, Illinois. Again, for info and the map, seek foxvalleycoins.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and John Cass in for Amy J this morning. I just wanted to add a postscript to our conversation at the end of last hour about the preemptory pardons Biden issued today. So, you know, the DOJ does do civil investigations, just like state attorneys general do civil investigations. But the problem still is Milley, Fauci, the J6 committee members, all who have received preemptive pardons. You know, they have sovereign immunity for the decisions they make attendant to their public office. So it's difficult to see an angle in for a civil, even a civil investigation and potential prosecution of any of these individuals who received pardons. And, oh, by the way, we haven't read the specific language of the pardons, but the preemptory pardons, but they could include federal civil investigations that they're insulated from. So I just wanted to make that point because some people online have been talking about the possibility of trying to, you know, get to them financially or professionally on a good faith basis if you can't get to them criminally. And I think it's still very difficult.
Well, they've been pardoned. That's it, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. So now you look at those who you have a good faith basis to look at who have not been pardoned, like other members of the Biden hillbilly crime family, like Cassidy Hutchinson, who potentially perjured herself before the J6 committee, just to name but two examples. For more on our conversation, though, on TikTok and its future and what it should be, pleased to be joined at 7:37 by John Tamny, the editor of RealClearMarkets.com. A little more on TikTok, 7:37. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
2 below zero at 7:33. And as you've been talking about with Dan and John Cass this morning, word from Washington. Lame duck President Joe Biden has pardoned Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, and members of the J6 committee. It's a last-second extraordinary misuse of presidential power, according to some presidential experts. Milley has just told reporters he's grateful for the pardon, so he no longer has to worry about retribution. Bitterly cold weather hitting the Chicago area on ML King Jr. Day. National Weather Service says wind chills could drop as low as 25 below zero into this evening and tomorrow morning. Dr. William Weber is with Rush University Medical Center.
The biggest thing you can do is just try to get indoors. So get to a normal temperature where your body can warm up. If you don't have shelter, you can always call 311. Chicago has warming centers.
Illinois Republicans are hoping for positive change after Donald Trump's inauguration today. Southside Pastor Corey Brooks, among many others, in the nation's capital in support of Trump. Here's AM 560's Jim Talamonte.
The returning president is scheduled to be inaugurated inside the U.S. Capitol in Washington. Chicago Southside Republican. He expects the new administration to be a breath of fresh air.
And it seems like there's going to be an era of government accountability, which is what our Constitution upholds.
Jones said he listened to confirmation hearings for Trump's nominee for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth.
As a Navy veteran, I know how incompetent the Department of Defense has been, and to think that that department hasn't passed an audit.
Jones said he looked forward to making Illinois less corrupt once the federal government is in its proper place. I'm Jim Talamonte.
Cook County Sheriff's Office has confirmed a deputy was killed by stray gunfire while on vacation in Turks and Caicos over the weekend. Shimon Duncan was a 20-year veteran of the county's Department of Corrections. Judge John Robert Blakey is scheduled to review jury instructions with attorneys in the federal corruption trial of former Illinois House Speaker Democrat Michael Madigan beginning tomorrow. Bulls lost to the Trailblazers last night. They visit the Clippers tonight, and the Blackhawks will host Carolina. The news, a service of Valdecas Windows for the discerning homeowner looking for high-quality and professional-level window replacement service. Contact Valdecas Windows, your award-winning, platinum, elite, Pella-certified contractor, Valdecas.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash.
Not sure if you've heard, but President Trump says Newsmax is really terrific. He also says Americans are tuning into Newsmax because it's really good. Are you one? Newsmax is now on all major cable networks, and Newsmax 2, our streaming channel, is on all big OTT platforms like Roku, Samsung, Amazon, and more. But you really need to get Newsmax Plus. It's our streaming service with all of the top Newsmax shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Greg Kelly, Chris Alcedo, and others. You'll get great analysis from Dick Morris, Carrie Lake, Alan Dershowitz, Mike Huckabee, and more. Newsmax Plus covers all the major Trump rallies and news events, even the ones Fox News won't. Check out Newsmax Plus now and start your free trial today. It costs nothing to start. Go to NewsmaxPlus.com to register. Then download the app and start watching. Millions are watching Newsmax. Go to NewsmaxPlus.com today.
Chicagoland certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns discusses taxes in retirement.
Most people are paying more in taxes and keeping less of their money to live and do what they enjoy. That's why we've put out the retirement tax bill calculator online. You can see with your own eyes just how much you might be overpaying. It's a valuable tool, $500 value, but we made it free for you to view and run your own numbers at MVPCFP.com. That's MVPCFP.com.
To run your retirement tax bill calculator, go to MVPCFP.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC.
Wow. Are you buying or are you selling? As this is being written, silver is up more than 50% in just the past 8 months. And gold is the highest it's ever been. Whether you are just getting into the metals, want to roll your IRA into silver or gold, or want to take some profits off the table, Fox Valley Coins is ready, willing, and able to help. Even though Fox Valley Coins is a national dealer, they're family-owned and in your own backyard. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville almost always has the product you want in stock and pretty much always has the best pricing when you buy or sell. Buying or selling is easy. Bring your items in. We'll establish the price and pay you cash or check on the spot. Why wait to move your assets around? Did you know that Fox Valley Coins has sold over 3,000 one-ounce silver Donald Trump coins? We have several designs, but they're going fast. Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
740 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Low T Center. If you're not feeling the same energy anymore, testosterone therapy or TRT may be the answer. Low T Center brings over a decade of experience, so go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. lowtcenter.com. Just a couple of notes on the roads. Ike outbound, disabled vehicle, right shoulder, just west of Harlem Avenue. As you're traveling this morning on the trains, just be aware the Metro Electric, the Metro Rock Island, the Metro UP Northwest, the Metro Milwaukee North Line, South Shore, all have delays, all operating with emergency track repairs or other switching problems because of the cold. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Frigid and breezy in your forecast, high near 11. Clear and very cold overnight, a low of 7 below. Clear skies, sunrise, and 2 below zero at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We're talking a little bit with the Heritage Foundation, Stephen Bucci, about the question of to ban or not ban TikTok, or really to force its divestiture or not force its divestiture, which is much less Shakespearean. Anyway, we heard from Mike Gallagher, the former Republican congressman from Wisconsin, who is the chairman of the Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party. And he's also the author of the legislation forcing this sale of TikTok to an American interest if it is to remain available to Americans. Interesting coalitions around the two sides here. Rand Paul had this to say about said legislation.
Senator, your reaction to the TikTok ruling?
Disappointment. I do believe that banning a social media app like TikTok is a violation of the First Amendment.
Well, yeah, so the legislation, as well as Supreme Court opinion upholding said legislation as constitutional in a per curiam opinion of the court, meaning the court speaks with one voice, said, look, it's not a free speech issue, number one. But even if it were, that intermediate scrutiny is all that is required, and the burdens on expression are outweighed by the strong national interest in protecting vast swaths of sensitive data from foreign adversary control. Vast swaths of sensitive data from foreign adversary control, that is quoting the per curiam opinion. So that's where the Supreme Court came down. Other senators, both Democrats and Republicans, sort of the general consensus here is that we hope it doesn't go away, but we want it to be in the hands of some entity other than the Chinese Communist Party. from Josh Hawley to Dick Blumenthal.
The best way for TikTok to continue to exist is for it to be sold, which the law explicitly allows for. Why you ban it is controlled by Beijing. So if it were sold or firewalled, that would be fine.
The TikTok ban is fully and fairly constitutional. TikTok should not be banned. It should be sold. China should not own it, but it should continue to exist in this country.
And yes, in answer to your question, does Dick Blumenthal agreeing with the Supreme Court and suggesting something is constitutional concern me in terms of my position on the issue? Yes, it does. Speaker Johnson was on Meet the Press with the noxious Christian Welker, asked about the Trump pause, which, as we discussed with Stephen Bucci, not exactly consistent with the letter of the federal legislation in terms of this 90-day extension that Trump is poised to provide today after assuming office. But here was Speaker Johnson's perspective on said extension.
I think we will enforce the law. And when President Trump issued the Truth Post and said, save TikTok, the way we read that is that he's going to try to force along a true divestiture, changing of the hands, the ownership. It's not the platform that members of Congress are concerned about. It's the Chinese Communist Party and their manipulation of the algorithms. They have been flooding the minds of American children with terrible messages, glorifying violence and anti-Semitism and even suicide and eating disorders. I mean, crazy kind of stuff. And they're mining the data of American citizens. It's a very dangerous thing. The Chinese Communist Party is not our friend, and we have to make sure this changes hands. I'm really heartened to see that Google and Apple and Microsoft have taken the steps to comply with the law. There needs to be a sale of full divestiture from the Chinese Communist Party, and I think President Trump is the one that can make that deal happen, so we're excited.
For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by John Tamny, editor of RealClearMarkets.com and author of The Money Confusion, How Illiteracy About Currencies and Inflation Sets the Stage for the Crypto Revolution. John, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, so the argument against the forced sale of TikTok. Let's hear it.
Well, it's theft. So the government steps in and says, hey, nice business, but we've decided that the American owners, because TikTok is already American owned. Let's get that out of the way. It is American owned. It's owned by Carlyle. It's owned by Susquehanna Investment Group. It's owned by T. Rowe Price. We want you to have new owners. But it's a government forced sale. It's a sale that has to occur within a stated amount of time. How do you negotiate that? You think maybe you're not going to be able to get a fair price for your property? And then let's talk about this notion that they're mining data. Well, why does anyone think that social media is free? At which point, we're not banning it. We just want different owners. Well, do you think any owner that would want to buy it could raise the funds to buy it unless they were going to mine that data that would then find its way to the, quote, Chinese Communist Party once again? This is theft. We told the Chinese for years to not be communist, to pursue the profit motive, to start doing the things that are associated with eating and living a better life. They succeeded in creating something that is exponentially better than any American company's been able to do. Because let's face it, Facebook and the others tried to compete with TikTok, and they failed. And so because they created something better, that's called competition. That's called free trade. We're going to steal it from them.
So is there any line that you would draw with respect to real or perceived national security interests that would warrant government intervention with a entity owned by a foreign adversary?
No, I wouldn't in this case. But this is not about national security. Once again, as Gallagher keeps saying, we're not banning it, which means that someone else would own it. And in someone else owning it, that same data is going to get to China if the Chinese care to get it.
Why does that? Wait, hold on a second. Why does that necessarily follow? I mean, if we found out that Facebook or X was selling data or providing a backdoor to the Chinese Communist Party, you don't think there would be government intervention there?
Well, that's already happening. I mean, come on, Dan. Let's be real. There's no accounting for the final destination of any good. The Arabs can embargo us on oil sales, but we'll still consume their oil as though it was it bubbled up in West Texas. They can't control where it finally goes. And so Facebook, precisely because it's a user-supported site, its data on its users is globally available. Same with X. Same with any social media. And so it wouldn't be any different. There's no way anyone could buy TikTok unless they were going to sell the data, which means you'd get to China. Now, I'm not sure what the CCP would want with this, but since conservatives and libertarians are suddenly so paranoid about it, but they don't want to shut down Facebook and YouTube and all the other providers of the same data, the same people that used it to promote lockdowns a couple of years ago, but they want to go after TikTok. And so don't tell me this is about national security. The data is going to get to the Chinese regardless.
Well,
and anyone.
Well, I mean, okay. I mean, look, it's a fair point about the domestic social media companies. But I mean, again, just to play devil's advocate, the rights that a foreign adversary, the entity that a foreign adversary owns, and that of an American citizen are not the same. I mean, that was essentially the Supreme Court's position with respect to this case and this federal law forcing divestiture. So, I mean, there is a different analysis because it is understood to be under the control of the Chinese Communist Party as opposed to under control of Mark Zuckerberg.
Now, Dan, let's think about that. You're a libertarian. You came up in the same world that I largely came up with. Can you name one business in the history of the world that was run by government or the, quote, Chinese Communist Party that wasn't just popular, but so popular that it beat the best, most dynamic U.S. businesses in the world? I mean, is there something in the Chinese blood that makes them uniquely good, that their government control of stuff that you guys all allege doesn't matter, that they can be competitive? Whereas with everything else, whether it's the DMV, the post office, the passport office, no American would ever deal with anything associated with government on any given day unless they had to. But somehow the Chinese government can run the most dynamic business in the world? I mean, do you really believe that?
Well, I don't know that it's like run on a day-to-day basis, but that's actually not the point I was making. I mean, I take your point about central planning. I'm happy to put free markets up against central planning in just about every instance I can think of. But my point is to say that the standard of analysis, just in terms of is this a constitutional action, this federal law that is in effect. And I do agree with the Supreme Court that it's constitutional. That's one question. Now the question is it judicious? Does it make sense? Is it bad precedent in terms of federal law? That's a separate question. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it makes no sense, and I debate the constitutionality of it, but who knows? I'll leave that to others. I kind of believe in freedom. I believe in my right to transact with whom I want to transact with. But it's always, the CCP could take over. Because, see, conservatives want it both ways, including Gallagher. They claim that it's run by the CCP, which is laughable, because if it was run by the CCP, no one would use it. Oh, but see, they could, and they could pollute our minds, and they could propagandize. Now, let's think about that in two levels. Well, for one, if it suddenly is known to become a Chinese Communist Party organ, well, people would stop using it, because what government associates it with always royally sucks. So we know that that's a weak excuse. If it happens, people would stop using it.
Well, I suppose people would say that, yes, you're right. I mean, obviously, these other social media platforms and the performance of Mark Zuckerberg and the performance of Larry and Sergey over Google and so on and so forth. TikTok hardly has a monopoly on polluting the minds of Americans. I can see the point. I suppose the argument would be just because we can't legitimately stop everything doesn't mean we shouldn't stop legitimately what we can.
Well, I question the notion that this is all about polluting the minds, if they can control the minds. And evidence supporting that is visit China. TikTok the Chinese Communist Party that conservatives allege is controlling TikTok, they can't even control the minds of their people. And evidence supporting that claim is there's 5,500 McDonald's in China right now, but McDonald's has plans for 10,000 within 3 years. iPhone is the sells a fifth of its phones in China. There are more Buicks sold in China than the United States. To visit China is to see American businesses everywhere. So does it sound like the Chinese people are brainwashed? But we're supposed to believe TikTok, an app. an app might make Americans hate America and pursue and love communism. I mean, profiles and courage. What's happened to American conservatives? You think Ronald Reagan would have been afraid of an app? No, because Reagan understood that we had the better system. And what was his line? He said, "We win, they lose." We're afraid of an app?
Well,
and we're going to give up our liberty once again? I mean, how many years ago did you have me on? We were talking about lockdowns.
Mm-hmm.
When are Americans going to learn that their enemy right now is government, not Republican or Democrat? Their government locked them down. Why are we afraid of the Chinese?
Well, so if you don't think this is about polluting the minds of Americans, is that you just think this is what classic rent-seeking behavior, like the Ivy League doesn't want competition in terms of polluting the minds of young people?
Of course it's rent-seeking. Do you think? I mean, ask yourself the question: if TikTok weren't popular, would anyone care? Look, TikTok created something. People spend more time on it than they spend on Netflix and Facebook and YouTube. Now, let's be clear. Facebook and YouTube and Twitter want you to spend time on them. TikTok created something more appealing to the American people. And for doing that, it's going to be thieved. And isn't it interesting? Oh, but if you just sell it to a specific owner, do you know who Gallagher recommended? He said in his op-ed last week, 2 weeks ago, he said, "Oh yeah, there's a buyer, American buyer, waiting in the wings. Frank McCourt. Google Frank McCourt.
Yeah.
He is known as the worst owner in the history of Major League Baseball. It's like telling Bob Kraft, who's got 7 Super Bowl rings, "Oh yeah, just sell your team to the McCaskies." It's
such a hurtful comment. I mean, that's so. It's not enough. We have the Bears. You have to pile on, John. I mean, that's just
no. But I mean, think
that
about
is
it.
So so harmful.
It's a forced sale, and we get to choose to whom you sell it. That is called theft in any other world. It's what we would say if the Chinese said, "Hey, you want to keep YouTube, you got to sell it to one of our owners." We would say they're stealing the company. But somehow it's okay when we find some of the most inept people out there. We say, "Oh, they'll buy it from you." Please.
John Tamny, editor of RealClearMarkets.com. He's also the author of The Money Confusion, How Illiteracy About Currencies and Inflation Sets the Stage for the Crypto Revolution. John, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And John joins us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
In the beginning, God created. Now it's your turn. You're a creator, inspired to design and craft incredible works of art and innovation. But nothing halts inspiration faster than not having the materials you need to bring your vision to life. K&S Precision Metals understands the power of creation. So they provide the materials to help you make your masterpiece. From brass, aluminum, copper, and stainless steel tubing to wire, rod, sheets, and foil, their vast selection of pure, high-quality metals is designed to meet your needs from start to finish. No lead, no fillers. Just materials you can trust to elevate your project. Whether you're a professional or hobbyist, their products are trusted by the medical and movie industries and creators like you, providing high-quality metals to a world of endless possibilities. K&S Precision Metals has been family-owned and operated in Chicago for 78 years. Most orders ship within a day, so you can get back to creating faster. Order directly at ksmetals.com. That's ksmetals.com. Our materials, your creations.
Well, it was during a 10, 12-inch snowstorm, and we probably shouldn't have been delivering, but we were delivering.
Ben and Arvid Huth, brothers and owners of Penny Mustard Furnishings.
And they get to the end of the driveway, and it's a long driveway, like a quarter-mile long, and it has been plowed. And the UPS guy was stuck halfway between them and the house. You can't see the house from the road. They can't pass this UPS guy with their truck they're going to get stuck. So, and what would have 99 out of 100 people done? And then skip that delivery and call the customer and say, I can't deliver. Yeah. Not these guys. Yeah. So what they did was they carried that table a quarter mile to the house, delivered it through 10 inches of snow, and then carried the old table, customer's old table, a quarter mile back to the truck. That is just doing whatever it takes to get it done. Yep. As much as that's customer service, because the customer was happy that we got done, that's just service to us. That's service to all the other employees that we just got the extra work done. Yep.
See more at pennymustard.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 8:08, we'll be talking to the Manhattan Institute's Heather McDonald about Trump's plans to make America safe again. Massa at 8:08. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
A Cook County Sheriff's deputy killed by stray gunfire in the Caribbean. Many Illinois Democrats are skipping the Trump inauguration and dealing with the bitter cold. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Parting gifts from President Biden. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Hours before he leaves office, he's issued even more pardons on top of the record number of pardons and commutations the president's already handed out, thousands. But these are preemptive to protect General Mark Milley, former Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman, and controversial ex-Trump and Biden COVID advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci, and members of the Democrat-led House committee that investigated the January 6th Capitol riot.
President Biden, in a press release, says he did this to prevent a politicized prosecution by the incoming Trump administration, calling those he pardoned public servants who have served with honor and distinction.
That's Fox's Eben Brown. Here's reaction from Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn, who tells Fox,
this is a president who has worked overtime trying to make illegal legal so it would suit his agenda, which is America last.
President-elect Trump is now at a church service in Washington 3 hours before he's sworn in as president again, telling supporters at a rally last night,
we will not be invaded, we will not be occupied, we will not be overrun, we will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation once again.
In his inaugural address this afternoon, he'll call for a revolution of common sense, saying a tide of change is sweeping across the country. Later today, the president plans to sign about 200 executive orders after he takes office, including ones related to border security. And the Senate may vote today to approve the Laken Riley Act, named for the Georgia woman murdered by an illegal immigrant last year. The law allows for the removal of some migrants here illegally who have committed crimes. And Fox's Chad Pergram reports from the Capitol.
The Senate is expected to confirm at least one cabinet member tonight. That's likely Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. Two other committees scheduled meetings to prep other nominees for the floor today. That includes John Ratcliffe as CIA Director and Kristi Noem for Homeland Security.
America's listening.
8:02. Sunshine in Chicago, 2 below zero. Bitterly cold weather slamming the Chicago area today on ML King Jr. Day. Wind chills could drop to as low as 25 below zero overnight. Dr. William Weber is with Rush University Medical Center.
The biggest thing you can do is just try to get indoors. So get to a normal temperature where your body can warm up. If you don't have shelter, you can always call 311. Chicago has warming centers.
Warming centers are also open throughout the suburbs. Illinois Republicans are looking for positive change after Donald Trump's inauguration as president today. Southside Pastor Corey Brooks is in the nation's capital.
Regardless of who the president is, as an American, we all need to be supportive and praying for the success of our president.
And the president-elect is just hours away from being sworn into office, and some here in Chicago are worried about being deported. Chicago Archbishop Blaise Supich was on a pilgrimage in Mexico City and addressed the issue.
If the reports are true, it should be known that we would oppose any plan that includes a mass deportation of U.S. citizens born of undocumented parents.
Some plans may be curtailed after weekend leaks of plans coming from Washington. Chicago sports. Bulls fade in the second half of a 113-102 loss to Portland. They visit the Clippers later on tonight. The Blackhawks host Carolina tonight. College hoops, Fighting Illini had a tussle with number 12 Michigan State in fall in East Lansing, 80-78, while Northwestern had a great game during regulation, but it was Michigan in overtime. Number 19 Michigan at Chrysler with an 80-76 win over the Wildcats. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The markets are closed today for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. On this Inauguration Day, Goldman Sachs chief economist Jan Hatzius says the U.S. economy is in a sweet spot with healthy growth and gradual disinflation, and the market is possibly too pessimistic on the pace of Fed interest rate cuts. He says the key question is how aggressively tariffs will be applied by the incoming administration. Kohl's has a new CEO. Ashley Buchanan, a retail veteran, took over last week. The Wall Street Journal says the retail chain has been hearing from longtime customers that they want the company to undo the changes from departing CEO Tom Kingsbury. Kohl's has had 3 CEOs in the past 3 years. Sales have been slumping. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Not sure if you've heard, but President Trump says Newsmax is really terrific. He also says Americans are tuning into Newsmax because it's really good. Are you one? Newsmax is now on all major cable networks, and Newsmax 2, our streaming channel, is on all big OTT platforms like Roku, Samsung, Amazon, and more. But you really need to get Newsmax Plus. It's our streaming service with all of the top Newsmax shows with Rob Schmidt, Greta Van Susteren, Greg Kelly, Chris Alcedo, and others. You'll get great analysis from Dick Morris, Carrie Lake, Alan Dershowitz, Mike Huckabee, and more. Newsmax Plus covers all the major Trump rallies and news events, even the ones Fox News won't. Check out Newsmax Plus now and start your free trial today. It costs nothing to start. Go to NewsmaxPlus.com to register. Then download the app and start watching. Millions are watching Newsmax. Go to NewsmaxPlus.com today.
Attention, anyone with high blood pressure.
If you want to seriously control your blood pressure and not be a walking time bomb,
Order 120 Life today.
120 Life is an amazing blend of superfruit juices that can actually help lower your blood pressure. It's been endorsed by thousands of health professionals and doesn't have the side effects of medication.
With ingredients that have shown to naturally help control blood pressure, 120 Life could be the natural game changer in your life.
Try it for yourself, risk-free, with a 2-week trial pack.
Go to 120life.com and use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping.
120 Life is so sure it can noticeably lower your blood pressure in just 2 weeks, they'll give you your money back if you're not satisfied.
Order the 8-ounce drink or powdered mix. From pomegranates to cranberries, it's the delicious way to lower blood pressure.
Go to 120life.com now. Use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping.
This month and every month, we remember the over 66 million babies whose lives have been senselessly sacrificed on the altar of abortion. Surely, the left doesn't understand the repercussions of a land that takes the blood of the innocent, and that should only motivate us more to save more babies and their moms. Preborn is a network of clinics, and they fight every day to save more babies and more moms. To date, they've rescued over 300,000 babies' lives by introducing a mom to her child on an ultrasound. That baby's chance at life doubles. Preborn showers moms and babies with God's love and assistance for up to 2 years. So when they shout abortion, we shout life. Let's save more babies this year than last. One ultrasound is just $28, and only $140 will help rescue 5 babies. All of the gifts are tax deductible. So donate securely. Dial pound 250. Say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, keyword baby. Or go to preborn.com/Beck. Preborn.com/Beck. Sponsored by Preborn.
808. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University. Go to 560theanswer.com/store. Eden's outbound accident, right shoulder, right at Wilson this morning. Ike on the outbound side, disabled vehicle, left lane blocked outbound at Ridgeland. Dan Ryan, disabled vehicle, right lane blocked outbound before 95th. Lots of delays on Metra, Milwaukee North Line, Milwaukee UP West Line, Metra UP West Line, Metra North Central Service, and UP Northwest Line, all with switching problems, track problems, or other type of dangerously cold weather type problems, all impacting good chunk of Metra this morning. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
A cold weather advisory in effect this morning and also again tonight. Sunshine, a few clouds, breezy and frigid today. Dress warm. High today at 12. Clear tonight with the low at 7 below zero. Sunny for tomorrow, the high only 5. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Sure, it's cold, 2 below zero at O'Hare, but watch out for the wind chills right now. 19 below with the wind chill at O'Hare, 19 at Midway, 19 below with the wind chill in Aurora, 20 below at DuPage Airport, and along the lakefront, 0 right now with a wind chill of minus 14. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy, Sundays, noon to 1. Learn more online at mwmfinancial.tax.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, John Cass of johncassnews.com.
Living the dream.
Just before we get to our friend Heather McDonald, this running thread we have on these preemptive pardons that the big guy issued this morning for Fauci, for Milley, and for the members and staff of the J6 Star Chamber, all of those Torquemadas and their staffers. Somebody's asking, some people have been asking about whether or not a person can refuse the presidential pardon, because apparently Adam Kinzinger, one of those aforementioned Torquemadas, I don't need a pardon, I don't want a pardon. And Adam Schiff has said the same. He's, prior to today's events.
I hope he doesn't.
Well, I mean, you can, you cannot be forced to accept a presidential pardon. So Kinzinger can repudiate it. The pardon will not be delivered, and the next president can revoke the pardon. That is possible. But just saying I don't need one is not the same as actually repudiating it. So we'll have to watch Kinzinger or anybody else who says, I'm not guilty of anything, I don't need a pardon, if they actually take the step to refuse to acknowledge it and thus leave themselves potentially open to legal exposure, criminal legal exposure, criminal or civil legal exposure for that matter. So,
box of tissues, start crying, Kinzinger.
Yeah, well, just a point of order on that, as people are furiously discussing it, as you can imagine. The outgoing administration, that would be the big guys. This is another just sort of remarkable event, just like declaring by fiat that the Equal Rights Amendment is now part of the Constitution. I mean, this is really something. What will he do next? Well, here's one of the exit videos that the Biden administration would like you to remember them by. All of their good work in advancing the flag for diversity, equity, and inclusion, otherwise known as cultural Marxism. a former New Mexico congresswoman who became the Secretary of the Interior. Deb Haaland leads it off.
I always start crying when I talk about this. So, President Biden promised that he would have a cabinet that looks like America, and he did.
We're talking about this incredible, full-throated commitment to equity.
There's more women of color, more people on the cabinet with perspectives that have never been around a decision-making table before.
I'm the member of President Biden's cabinet, his budget director, and I'm the first black woman to do it.
With diversity comes different views, different perspectives, and better decision-making.
What is happening with this administration under the leadership of this president is historic in so many ways.
I am so proud to be the first Native American to serve on the president's cabinet. Welcome to the Department of the Interior. And I hope that my perspective has helped the president to make the decisions that he knows will better our country.
He's led from the front, and it's been really a privilege to serve in his administration and trying to make the dream of America real to as many people as possible.
The better decision making, that's definitely the hallmark of this administration. That's what I think of when I think of Team Biden. And by the way, that woman who is the budget director, I'm the first black woman to do it. I wouldn't run around bragging about being Biden's budget director, just FYI.
You know what? I love the theme music.
It's very upbeat.
It's the Enlightenment, right? They are the enlightened, aren't they?
Yeah, it's very chipper. For more on this, please be joined by Heather McDonald, the Thomas W. Smith Fellow at the Manhattan Institute, author of, appropriately, When Race Trumps Merit, How the Pursuit of Equity Sacrifices Excellence, Destroys Beauty, and Threatens Lives. That sounds like a more accurate description of the Biden years. Heather McDonald, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan and John.
How about that exit video? Were you moved?
I was definitely moved in a way I'm not even going to talk about anatomically. If I know that I've been put on panels and whatnot because I'm female. That is a complete insult. And anybody that is doing that is guaranteeing a lower quality pool of applicants. Whenever you make what you look like, what you look like is by definition going to be totally irrelevant to any kind of meritocratic position. Maybe for Miss America or Miss Universe it makes a big difference, but otherwise I don't care what my doctor looks like. I don't care what my cancer researcher looks like. And when you make that a criterion, you're knocking out of that candidate pool the people who are best qualified but don't look right. And Biden did that again and again. Here's some data from the last 4 years of hell that should make us all very worried, Dan and John. He put 2/3 of his judges on the federal bench were people of color. Again, being a person of color is not relevant to being a judge. They're there for life. We have a mediocre set of judges. 48% of his U.S. attorneys were black, even though blacks are only 13% of the population. When you add to that the fact that we have a huge academic skills gap, 22% of blacks never passed the bar after 5 tries compared to 3% of whites. If you're making 48% of your U.S. attorneys black, you are going to be lowering the standards radically. And that's what we got. We got criminal justice that was driven by racial considerations, not by keeping people safe, not by figuring out how do we get criminals off the streets. Rather, we were saying, how do we keep criminals out of the criminal justice system? Because if we lock away fare beaters, if we lock away thieves, we're going to have a disparate impact on blacks, and it's more important to avoid disparate impact on black criminals than to keep people safe. And that's been the 4 years of the travesty of the Justice Department under President Biden.
Well, the good news out of the gate, as if what is being reported is true, one of the 200 or so odd executive orders Trump is expected to sign today is the elimination of all DEI programs in the federal government, which, in addition to being counterproductive in terms of advancing talented people to do important work, also saves about $125 billion the federal government was spending, we've come to find out.
This is the best thing that Trump will do. It is an astounding change, Dan and John. We have had our science agencies have been decimated by the importance placed on sex and gender and race. We have our science agencies, our energy department, our National Institutes of Health have been doling out federal grants on the basis of race and sex, which is completely counterproductive. To get rid of that and restore science, I hope, to its integrity. The greatest human accomplishment is the scientific method, being able to figure out how nature works through rational procedures. We have ignored that and put in place the irrationality of identity politics. This is the best thing that he can do. He should get rid of the disparate impact standard throughout all the federal regulations. In some cases, you're going to need Congress to change statutes. He's got to press them to do that. But if we can restore this country to the pursuit of excellence, we actually will be able to keep ahead of China. If we were to continue down the same path of the Biden-Harris regime, making race and sex more important than mathematical accomplishment, China is going to eat our lunch.
In your recent piece, you're speaking about criminal justice for City Journal, and I want to read one line of it that really struck me. It is depolicing and deprosecution, however, that creates harmful, disparate impacts on people of color by failing to get criminals off the streets. But avoiding harm to black victims is not a top priority of racial justice activists. Correct?
Well, this is the mystery that people like you and I, John, have had to live with for the last 20 years. We hear this Black Lives Matter chant, and we look around and we say, what about the black victims? What about all those black children in Chicago who've been gunned down? There's never been a Black Lives Matter protest about them. After the George Floyd race riots, the police backed off of policing. You had police chiefs saying, don't make arrests for turnstile jumping, don't make arrests for theft, don't make arrests for disorderly conduct, resisting arrest of a police officer, because that will have a disparate impact on blacks. Prosecutors stop prosecuting. We all know Kim Foxx, George Gascon, Alvin Bragg. What happened? We had the largest single-year increase in homicide in this nation's history, 29%. The vast majority of additional victims were black. They paid the price, and not a single peep from the Black Lives Matter activists. The only blacks that the activists care about is the handful, barely a dozen a year out of a black population of about 40 million who may be technically unarmed that the police shoot fatally. And those are often under very, very questionable circumstances. Those are the only blacks that the activists care about. They're happy to let 10,000 blacks get gunned down by other blacks in insane drive-by shootings because they have so demoralized the cops that they're just driving on by clear scenes of suspicious conduct.
Heather McDonald is the Thomas W. Smith Fellow at the Manhattan Institute, author of When Race Trumps Merit, How the Pursuit of Equity Sacrifices Excellence, Destroys Beauty, and Threatens Lives. Heather, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan and John.
And Heather joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jim Keene Jr. of the Mail House, Inc., a family-owned and operated digital print mail house with a specialty in political advertising and a customer of Signature Bank. We knew that getting a loan to buy our business wouldn't be easy, so we turned to one of our trusted friends for a referral. She told us about the outstanding level of customer service her business received at Signature Bank since becoming one of their first customers in 2006. Today, we couldn't be happier. Not only did Signature help us finance the purchase of the mail house, but they supported our growth as we modernized our operations in mailing as well as from traditional to digital printing. If you're looking for a great bank to grow your business, take a look at Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Gentlemen, it's a new year and time to keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. Don't put it off. Get tested in January. If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone, so don't wait. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back right there. Low T Center is not your typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, for each patient. Their personal treatment plans are optimized for each patient. They're not just basic standard treatments. And for current patients, Low T Center offers you a $150 referral credit for each new patient that you refer. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So get back to your best in January. Visit lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
This is David Hochberg with an emergency mortgage alert. If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. It finally happened. After 30 long and excruciating months, Fed Chair Powell just lowered interest rates a half a point, which means credit cards, car and home equity loans will be lower and less expensive. Most importantly, mortgage rates have dropped to their lowest levels since last February. The past 3 years have knocked out over 60% of our competition, who are back in the mall spinning pretzels and folding underpants. Team Hochberg's weathered the storm and is ready to help you, your friends, and family reduce your rate and monthly payments. If your interest rate is 7 or above, call Team Hochberg now. Not when you get home, not tomorrow, now for a complimentary mortgage review. 855-563-2843 or 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other. And if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
Hey, AM 560 homeowners, are you tired of all the money and repairs going into your house? Need an easy solution to convert your home into cash? This is Jeff from JeffBuysYourHouse.com. For nearly 20 years, our trusted, proven, and professional team has been simplifying the home selling process in Chicagoland. Here's the deal. You are in control. Pick the closing date that works best for you. No need to worry about repairs or any cleanout. We will buy your house as is, saving you frustration, time, and money. That's right, a fair cash offer within 24 hours, and we actually buy your house. No funny business. With our simple process, there are no fees and no commissions. You can trust our proven, professional, and credible service. Our local, high-integrity, and veteran-owned team will go above and beyond to make it stress-free. Sound interesting? Sell your house to the trusted source by calling us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up at 8:38, the inauguration was moved inside solely because of weather, right? That's the official story. Susan Crabtree, RealClearPolitics.com's White House and national political correspondent says, no, not weather, security threats. We'll talk to Susan about that at 8:38. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
It's 8:30. Sunshine in Chicago, 2 below zero. Word from Washington. This morning, lame duck President Joe Biden pardoning Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, members of the J6 committee. According to White House insiders, Milley has just told reporters he's grateful for the pardon, so he no longer has to worry about what he calls retribution. Bitterly cold weather's hitting the Chicago area this morning on ML King Jr. Day. Wind chills into the evening could dip as low as 25 below zero. Dr. William Weber is with Rush University Medical Center.
The biggest thing you can do is just try to get indoors. So get to a normal temperature where your body can warm up. If you don't have shelter, you can always call 311. Chicago has warming centers.
Warming centers are also opening up throughout the suburbs. A number of Illinois Democrats will skip President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration today. Among them, Robin Kelly, Chuy Garcia, Danny Davis, and Sean Casten. Illinois Republicans hoping for a positive change after Donald Trump's inauguration, including Southside Pastor Corey Brooks in the nation's capital in support of Donald Trump.
Regardless of who the president is, as an American, we all need to be supportive and praying for the success of our president.
In other news we're following this morning, the Cook County Sheriff's deputy confirmed to be killed has been named. That deputy was on vacation in Turks and Caicos over the weekend. Shimon Duncan was a 20-year veteran of the county's Department of Corrections. One person killed, a second person hospitalized after a stabbing at an apartment building in the South Loop. It happened last night around 8:50 in the 1500 block of South Wabash. No arrests have been made. Chicago sports. Number 5 Notre Dame battles number 6 Ohio State. College football, national title game tonight. NFL, Chiefs knock off visiting Houston. Buffalo beat the Ravens. On the West Coast, in the NBA, the Bulls will take on the Clippers tonight, while the Blackhawks will host Carolina. The news, a service of Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies in a capsule, Order online at balanceofnature.com. Use that coupon code Chicago to save 35% as a preferred customer. Hurry, offer ends soon. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other, and if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code Chicago.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
8:35, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Ike inbound, a disabled CTA bus is in your way. Left lane block, that's inbound at Morgan. And big delays as well on Metra this morning. Union Pacific West line delayed until further notice. Inbound to the Ogilvie Transportation Center. Switch problems there. Same story on Metra's Union Pacific Northwest line. South Shore with irregular service and delays from South Bend all the way into Michigan City. There's buses being sent to help people arrive in Michigan City and take the rest of the ride in, all due to weather, cold, and rail and track delays. Traffic, a service of work.illinois.gov. Real work-life balance from a state job. The Illinois EPA is hiring. Find really great careers at work.illinois.gov. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continue next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Frigid, breezy this afternoon, high near 11. Clear and very cold overnight, a low of 7 below. 1 below at O'Hare, partly cloudy, and 2 below in Aurora, 2 below in Romeoville, 0 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, John Cass of johncassnews.com. And, John, we're eagerly anticipating the inaugural tea where Trump and Melania will join Joe and Jill for some Earl Grey to talk about preemptive pardons, perhaps.
I just let Melania add it and let her clean them both up.
Oh, boy, will that be fun.
Slovakia woman, yes.
Something that Trump said at his rally last night on Inauguration Eve may take on renewed importance given the preemptive pardons that we've been discussing intermittently this morning that Biden issued this morning for Fauci, for Milley, and for members and staff of the J6 Star Chamber. It's about declassification of documents, and perhaps that will become more expansive than originally advertised, so that at least what needs to be in the public domain about those individuals and so many others,
like Sandy Berg,
gets to the public domain, even if it's not actionable criminally.
As a first step toward restoring transparency and accountability to government, we will also reverse the overclassification of government documents, and in the coming days, we are going to make public remaining records relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy, as well as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and other topics of great public interest. It's all going to be released, Uncle Sam. And I will direct our military to begin construction of the great Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will all be made in the USA. And we will get wokeness the hell out of our military immediately and make it like it used to be.
Yeah, Mark Milley's retirement did great service in getting wokeness out of the military, but
BM before Milley.
Yeah, I mean, it all very much parallels Reagan, as does Inauguration Day, as we understand from our friend Susan Crabtree. The last time the swearing in was conducted inside the Capitol, President Reagan's second term, after he survived an assassination attempt in the first term. Coincidence? Susan Crabtree doesn't think so. She joins us now, RealClearPolitics.com's national political correspondent, co-author of the new book, Fool's Gold, The Radicals, Con Artists, and Traitors Who Killed the California Dream and Now Threaten Us All. Susan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's great to be on with you, Dan, and with John.
So,
big fan, Susan. Big fan.
Yeah. So the inauguration and the swearing in moved inside because it's cold outside in Washington, D.C. Don't want anybody to get chilly observing this event. That's the official story? Is that the real story?
No, unfortunately, I don't think it is the real story. The real story, if you talk to a lot of Secret Service agents, which I do on a daily basis, and they come to me with information that they are concerned about. Most Secret Service agents, if you solicit them on this topic, they give you the stiff upper lip, very curt response. It's weather-related. But the real sources that have been briefed on the threat will say, in a very careful manner, that the weather was cover for the threats that we're facing. And those threats include a new issue with drones. The biggest drone maker, is a Chinese maker called DJI. And they recently did away with their restrictions. They used to restrict areas in the United States. Their software would automatically stop the operator from flying over runways, power plants, public emergencies like wildfires, and the White House. But now they stopped that just a week ago, recently, and they just give you a little image that says, "Please, warning, you're going into a restricted area."
So the United States stopped that, or did the Chinese drone manufacturers stop crossing over? Who stopped?
The Chinese manufacturers lifted those restrictions. And coincidentally, the there was a week ago, there was an incident with a drone hitting an airplane over the wildfires that was helping fight wildfires.
Right.
Yes.
And yeah, it downed the airplane for several days. So they only have one of those super scoopers now that help drop water. I guess they got it back up, but within a few days. But I don't think that's a coincidence in why the celebrations were brought inside. And there were other. I mean, obviously, there's multiple threats, ongoing threats from Iran, and we uncovered that the FBI even arrested someone to prevent anything happening with that threat. That's been a threat since 2020, since General Soleimani, the Trump administration killed him in the drone strike. So, these are heavy times, and we just pray for security. They did move it inside. I think that was a very, very smart decision on their part.
Well, I'm all for erring on the side of safety in circumstances like this, but it's a little troubling when the reporting is 25,000 law enforcement and military personnel to preside over 250,000 ticketed attendees, and a perimeter that law enforcement and military are very familiar with, and yet there's not a belief that we have the resources to ensure that environment would be safe for the president and others. I mean, it's sort of an indictment of where things are, isn't it?
Absolutely. When the president faced, it was his decision. He decided, the Secret Service brings the information to him. They make recommendations, but ultimately it's up to President-elect Trump, soon to be President Trump again. And they had all the information before them, and that's the decision they made. They take amazing steps, the Secret Service. They had helicopters, flat-bottom helicopters out just before they issued this decision to bring it indoors. Those flat-bottom helicopters they go very low, and they sniff for nuclear issues, any kind of nuclear residue. They have a lot of secret protocols. The motorcade itself was outfitted with what some people on social media were saying looked like it was drone mitigation. I asked my sources, and they said that's a top classified security system that I can't talk about with you.
And I mean, and all this talk about drones too. I mean, this is on the against the backdrop of the curious incidents of those drones over the eastern seaboard, and then Trump's subsequent promise to release a report on the drones as soon as he takes office. So, I mean, there's it's all of this sort of air of we're not getting the straight dope, and we understand we're not going to get all the details, but we're not getting the straight dope about sort of generally speaking what's happening and what the problems are to the extent there are problems, and then do we have the necessary leadership and capacities to deal with emerging threats like what you were just describing about the Chinese taking the governors off their drones?
Yes, and we're not getting the straight scoop. And Donald Trump was on Dan Bongino's show. Dan Bongino, as you know, is a former Secret Service agent of 11 years. And he was raising deep concerns about they either just do a private swearing in the White House or somewhere else, do it indoors and privately. He was urging Trump to do that for days and days. And Trump was on his show, and he said, yes, we're going to release that information about the drones. Dan didn't push him and say, what about this particular your inauguration? He didn't push him on that issue. He just said that I'm going to release the information about the drones, the fleets of drones you've seen on the eastern seaboard. But last night, or yesterday late afternoon, that I wanted to address, there was some concerns about the security at the stadium in Chinatown where Donald Trump spoke last night. I'm hearing that it was really dark in that stadium. They did have a lot of agents around, but there's concern that some agents that were involved in Butler were part of the security detail for Donald Trump. Yeah.
Do we think the inaugural tea with the Bidens is going to be okay? Is that covered?
Well, the Secret Service feels much more comfortable when Donald Trump is at the White House. They have that very fortified. They raised the fences, as you know, after the incidents during the Obama administration, where there was fence jumper got into the White House with a knife, and they didn't shoot him before he got into the White House. So they raised those fences. They have it very well fortified, especially at a national special security event like an inauguration. So I don't think so. I think the dynamics are going to be much more interesting in the interplay between the two of those figures and how they interact.
Were you? I mean, you're the national political correspondent for Real Clear Politics. Were you surprised by the preemptive pardons, either that they were issued or that they weren't more expansive to include Jimmy Biden and other Biden family members?
Of all people.
Yeah, I saw that this come out this morning. I was not surprised whatsoever. That was expected for many weeks. And interestingly enough, you just had one of Fauci's partners in the Wuhan lab be taken off. He is no longer allowed to work for the federal government. That was a result of the
EcoHealth.
EcoHealth Alliance hit the CEO. And I think that should have been coming for years, but finally saw that right before, interestingly enough, that Trump takes off as just days before you got that news. So I'm not surprised. I'm surprised about Jim Biden. He's definitely maybe
the original bag man, Susan. The original.
Yeah, and he he started down this road years ago with doing inappropriate things, selling on his brother's name. So yeah, that's quite interesting now that he didn't do that, and maybe he resents some of the things his brother did. Maybe he wasn't fully disclosing them at first.
Well, he doesn't resent the cash, I suspect, but and not to mention, I mean, if you get Jimmy, then you could move on to the big guy too. I mean, does the decision not to include other family members, not named Hunter, by the big guy, does it signal anything about what they expect from the Trump administration, that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Trump's disposition is just to let this go and move on, or is that a bit of a gamble that the big guy is taking?
I certainly think he has an eye on his own legacy, and if he did that, that would be in the history books, and as he would know, that everyone would know that it signals guilty. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I have talked to people in the House Oversight Community and in Congress, and I don't think that they are going to continue to go after Hunter after this. I think they've done their damage with Hunter, and they want to move on to bigger fish like Fauci.
Susan Crabtree, RealClearPolitics.com's national political correspondent, co-author of the new book, Fool's Gold, The Radicals, Con Artists, and Traitors Who Killed the California Dream, and now threaten us all. Susan, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Dan.
Love to talk to you about your book later.
All right, let's get that on the Chicago Way podcast. We'll have to schedule that. Very good.
Sell her book.
Susan Crabtree joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other, and if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Are you heading into the new year with that same old joint pain? Get moving again in 2025 with help from our very good friends at QC Kinetics. You know, everybody's doing it, including Joe Rogan, who recently mentioned his positive results from regenerative medicine on his podcast. Revitalize your joints with advanced orthobiologic treatments at QC Kinetics. No steroids, no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. This is the future of medicine using an array of natural solutions like PRP to attack the pain from arthritis. Want to learn more about how you can refresh your joints, get lasting relief with these amazing treatments? Call QC Kinetics. The consultation is free with Saturday appointments available. Deal with that joint pain now so you can make the most of the new year. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
So how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Gonna be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly. Or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150.
No one knows arbitration like Bert Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Bert at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
It's a new year, but the need continues. Hi, Amy Jacobson here to let you know that you could still be part of our annual Food for the Poor campaign. We are working to provide food for a year and access to water to children in Latin America and the Caribbean. And we need you to help us reach our goal. We are so close, especially if you own or run a business or make the marketing decisions for a business. You can still become a business benefactor by making a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. That gift will feed 50 children for all of 2025. And to show our appreciation for your generosity, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air right here on the station between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this amazing deal, just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, 847-472-8951 or go to 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, and in for Amy this morning has been John Cass, johncassnews.com. And John, the...
Am I not a river to my people?
The college football championship game is tonight, don't you know?
Okay.
I'm talking about like real football, not that cheese-eating surrender monkey business that you call football.
I call football any chance that the Bears can watch the Washington Commanders to be humiliated in their choice of quarterbacks.
Yet again. Anyway, so Notre Dame versus Ohio State.
Notre Dame's going to get killed.
I think so, too. Unless, you never know. That's why they play the games. If you get the turnover bug like the Ravens did or the Lions did, you can get upset. That's the only way. But anyway, maybe God will intervene. Maybe God will answer the prayer of one comedian, Shane Gillis, who offered one up for the Irish.
Hey, God. It's me, Shane. I haven't been here in a while, but I have a pretty big prayer for you. Notre Dame's in the national championship on Monday. I know you know, because you've been with us the whole time. A couple weeks ago, that field goal, I know you had a lot going on, so that was pretty chill you took time to help us with that. I should also say I have not bet on any of these games. All right, I half bet, but going forward, if Notre Dame wins, thou will not bet on games for a month, a couple weeks. We'll probably bet on Sunday. Come on, God, I know you can help us. Trucking dude, pick sixes everywhere, and a couple fumblerooskies. Just please let Notre Dame win a national championship. Hey, what are you praying for? Praying for Notre Dame. What are you praying for?
Say,
Notre Dame.
All right, cool. Shh.
Shh.
What?
Did you go to Notre Dame?
Yeah, I went to Notre Dame.
Oh. I'm sorry, that was a lie I got.
No, I didn't go to Notre Dame. Did you?
No, my uncle did.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Shh.
Shh.
They had their chance.
Shh.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.
They had their chance years ago against Michigan State, and it hasn't come back to them since. Huh?
It's tough. It's tough. You know, I guess I'm more partial to Notre Dame because of Marcus Freeman. I like him, but
Like him too.
It's a struggle. The Notre Dame nation versus Ohio State nation, as they say.
Both nations are
They're difficult to root for.
difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Before we go, it is also Inauguration Day, as we've been discussing. And so many changes of heart on Trump have occurred over the last 8 years, over the last 6 months, over the last 6 weeks. One of them, Snoop Dogg.
Oh, yeah.
The ubiquitous pitchman. I don't know why. Snoop Dogg in 2017.
Like peanut butter on gold or something.
Yeah.
Jelly.
In 2017, Snoop Dogg on anyone who would perform at Trump's inauguration part 1.
So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo ass gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the out one of you Uncle Tom ass for doing it. Which one of you gonna do it first? Osby's the one that performs for himself.
And on 2025, Snoop Dogg singing a different tune.
About noon, just thought that I had to be in Compton.
Performing, actually.
D-pads, Snoop Dogg. Get the D-pads out, buddy.
I wonder if Snoop Dogg 2025 remembers Snoop Dogg 2017, that is.
We're all forward to your destiny.
John Cass, JohnCassNews.com. Thanks so much for sitting in. It is now 9 a.m. on AM 560 WIND.
From impeachments to indictments.